Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto was raised by the Inuzuka family part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. A wild-looking, brown-haired woman with a 3-month-old baby in a snuggly, and an aging man in red and white robes peered down at a sleeping blonde infant with whisker marks. Beside her sat a large black dog that was missing an eye and an ear. "Is this him?" the woman asked as she picked up the babe, careful as not to wake him. "Yes, Sim. This is the boy you are going to raise," replied the old man. The woman named Sim quirked an eyebrow at the statement. "Forgive the question, Lord Hokage, but why of all people would you choose me to raise this particular boy?" she queried. Hiruzen Sarutobi chuckled. "My dear Sim, I understand you are still mourning the loss of your husband, but the boy is an orphan and the Kyuubi's jailer. With most of the village still reeling from the loss of their loved ones, they'll be crying for blood. The last thing we need is the boy to be ostracized by his own community. He needs a mother," and his voice dropped to a whisper. "It was stated in the force will that his son be raised in a loving family should anything happen to him, or his wife." Sim's eyes widened. "The boy is Minato and Kushina's son?" she gasped. She squinted at the whiskered face cradled against her. "Now that you mention it, he does bear a striking resemblance to good old Yandi, bless his soul. Without the whisker marks, he looks a lot like a mini Minato." "All true," nodded the old man. "But keep this information an S-class secret. Majority of the village does not know that the Namikaze clan still lives on. Aside from you and me, the only other people to know of the boy's true lineage and condition are Hayashi Hyuga, the Ino Shikacho trio, Mikoto Uchiha, and Shibuyaburame, and they all have sworn to secrecy, even to their own families. Jiraiya, being present at the time of the sealing, already knows the whole story. Don't breathe a word about this to the village and the other clans. If IWA ever finds out that the Yellow Flash had a son, we may as well be in for the Fourth Great Shinobi War." "I understand," Sim answered. "But one thing still bothers me. Why of all people did you choose me to be Mini Minato's mother? Why not Yoshino? Or Mikoto? Or—" Sarutobi chuckled again. "Sim, the reason I chose you is because I feel that you are the best kind of mother there is. You appear tough, but you are fair and you love your children dearly. Yoshino, as sweet as she is, has the tendency to be a bit of a nag, and though Mikoto means well, she is the sort that babies and coddles her children. Minato would be turning in his grave were his son to grow up into a henpecked rebel, or a spoiled brat." Sim blushed at the compliment on her maternal skills. "Oh, of course, Lord Hokage. With you as my witness, I pledge upon the Inuzuka name that I will raise this pup as if he was my own." Her normally severe expression softened as she gazed at the infant cradled in her arms. "Welcome to the family, Minato Jr.," she cooed. "Actually," Sarutobi corrected rather lightheartedly, "his name is Naruto." Sim quirked an eyebrow. "Like the fish cake?" She snickered a bit. "Leave it to Minato to name his offspring after a ramen topping. I swear, if he hadn't met Kushina, that goofball would have married the world's biggest bowl of ramen." "Actually, he was named after the protagonist in Jiraiya's first book," Sarutobi said. "It may have not appealed to the general public, but its story seemed to have been dynamic enough to inspire Minato and Kushina." He handed her a sheaf of papers. "Anyway, before you leave, here are Naruto's adoption papers and an edited copy of his birth certificate." Sim gave the papers a suspicious look. "Edited birth certificate?" "Yes," the third replied. "For Naruto's safety. We can't go trouncing about announcing that we have the Fourth's legacy now, can we? Heaven knows what IWA would do if they ever found out that the feared Yellow Flash had a son. For the moment, the Lady Chiro and Yum Hasegawa will be acknowledged as Naruto's parents. Not to worry though, I have the original copy and Minato and Kushina's wedding certificate. When he is ready, we will reveal his true heritage." "I see," said the Inuzuka matriarch, taking the documents. "Well then, if there's nothing more to discuss, I'll be taking my leave now, Lord Hokage." "Very well, Sim," Sarutobi replied. "I wish you the best of luck, and may the will of fire continue to burn brightly within you and your clan." As Sim Inuzuka walked down the streets of Konoha, she peered down at the baby sleeping peacefully in her arms. "Naruto Inuzuka," she mused, smiling at the child. "A wonderful name for my wonderful new son." 2 years later. It was another normal day in the Inuzuka household. Or at least what was normal by Inuzuka standards. Hana, now 7, was about to begin her first day at the academy. Just as she was about to step out, her brothers Naruto and Kiba caught sight of her and began clamoring to tag along. "If Hana go, we go too," babbled the two boys. "Kiba, Naruto, you can't go to school yet," Hana said as she tried to pry the toddlers off her. Naruto looked up at her with big, puppy dog eyes. Why not? Because you're too little, came the simple reply. Naruto not little, declared the blonde. Me big boy. You just no let us go cause you mean it, declared Kiba. Hana's patience began to wear thin. Look, I don't really have the time for this. I gotta go, okay? I'll take you to school with me someday, just not now. She finally pried her brothers off and hurried to school. Hana no go. Naruto bawled. We wanna go too. Wah! Kiba wailed. He picked up a building block and hurled it at the door. The ensuing noise had Tsum and her canine partner Kuramaru running into the room. What's going on here? She asked. What's with the tears, pups? Naruto sniffled and hiccuped. We wanna go, why Hana, but Hana mean it and she go but we no go. She said we too little. Kiba pouted. Tsum gathered both boys into a hug. I don't think you're too little, she said in a motherly tone. She kissed them both on the forehead. Because you're my two big boys. So we can go, why Hana? Naruto asked hopefully. Even better, said Tsum. Suit up, pups, cause we're going to the park. At the park, the boys were supervised by the watchful eyes of Tsum and her canine partner, Kuramaru. While the two boys frolicked in the grass, the Inuzuka clan head took the time to assess her children. Hana, her eldest, was the only daughter. After losing her father in such an early age, she was always in a hurry to grow up. She also acted as if she was more mature than what she was supposed to be, causing her to sometimes be annoyed by her brother's childish antics. Kiba, her biological son, was older than Naruto by 3 months. He was a wild little spitfire who constantly got into trouble. Looking back, Tsum chuckled at the memory of Kiba when he chased after a puppy, only to get stuck in its kennel. It took some axle grease and the help of Shikaku Nara and Chuza Akimichi to get him out. Finally, there was Naruto, her youngest and adopted son. He was always cheerful and energetic. In some ways he was like Kiba, but where Kiba was very wild, Naruto was somewhat more behaved. Unfortunately, that did not mean that he did not make his share of mischief. In fact, both Kiba and Naruto were practically inseparable. One was never without the other. It was also apparent that wherever the two boys went, trouble was sure to follow. Kuramaru's voice broke the silence. They grow up so fast, don't they? Tsum sighed, a rare act for the woman. Yes, she sighed again. It feels like it was only yesterday when I was nursing my own litter. Hana's going to school and the boys are beginning to talk and toddle. As wild they are, they're turning out quite nicely. Says you, replied the black dog. My body tends to think otherwise. I find your pups more of the rough and tumble type. With all the rides I've given them, even the pain's going to my fur. Oh come now, Tsum chuckled. You're exaggerating. No. I'm serious, asserted Kuramaru. I swear, if Naruto pulls on my ear one more time, I'll be known as the dog with no ears, and don't get me started with. Just then, a piercing howl cut their conversation short, and had them running to the boys for the second time that day. Kiba had apparently stepped into an anthill and got bitten by fire ants while Naruto stood by, pointing and laughing. Shaking her head, Tsum went over to calm her hysterical sons. Yep, she muttered to herself as she rubbed some salve over Kiba's boo-boos. Just another regular day at the doghouse. 4 more years had passed, and through that duration of time, the Inuzuka children had encountered all sorts of people, friend and foe alike. When Hana was 8, her mother gave her not 1, but 3 partners to work with the Himura triplets. The puppies bonded well with the little girl, and it was not long after that Hana began studying veterinary medicine to better help and understand her canine partners. Throughout that time, Naruto and Kiba had also amassed their own group of friends. So far, they had already befriended with the second-generation Inoshikacho trio, the Aburame and Hyuga heirs, and a civilian girl by the name of Sakura Haruno. However, new friends also came with new enemies or rivals, in a sense. 8-year-old Hana had come home crying one day, claiming that one Itachi Uchiha had called her meals dog food after she offered him some. Upon witnessing this, Naruto and Kiba had declared war upon Itachi's younger brother Sasuke after they demanded him to tell the elder Uchiha to apologize to their sister, and Sasuke just grunted and walked off. Since then, a sort of family feud had broken out between the Inuzukas and the Uchihas. It became a common occurrence for the Inuzuka brothers to go to the Uchiha district and pull all sorts of pranks, just to have Fugaku Uchiha haul them off to their mother, engage into a verbal fourth shinobi war with her, and stalk off, fuming about the barbarous ways of the Inuzuka. As for the boys, their punishment made a session with the ANBU torture and interrogation look like a tea party. It was now Naruto's 6th birthday. The party was being held in the Inuzuka's backyard, and it was abuzz with the excited chatter of the children, concerning the fact that they would be going to the academy next year. The excitement and joy was further amplified when Sakura said her parents said she could attend the academy along with her friends. The children had a lot of fun. There were games like paper scooper and target practice, and there were prizes and cake. But best of all were the gifts Naruto received from his friends and family. His family had gotten him a brand new set of practice shuriken and kunai. Shikamaru, who was too lazy to actually shop for something, brought a monetary gift. Chuji had brought him a super shinobi action figure. Ino had brought him a potted cactus, as Naruto had an interest in horticulture. Sakura had given him a set of new clothes, and Hinata had given him a frog plushie. Lastly, Shino had given him a stainless steel watch compass, making Kiba a little jealous. All in all, it was a day of fun and surprises, but the proverbial cherry on the sundae was when the Hokage had shown up after everyone had left, bringing in an elongated, canvas-wrapped parcel along with him. Naruto was ecstatic. The old man was like a grandfather to him, and he had allowed Naruto to wear his hat while Tsum took the birthday boy's picture. However, even best day ever could only last for so long, and it was soon bedtime for Naruto. Both Tsum and Sarutobi chuckled as the protesting boy was ushered off to his room by the combined efforts of Hana and Kuramaru. As soon as the children were safely tucked in bed, Sarutobi brought forth his parcel and handed it over to Tsum. Curious, the Inuzuka matriarch shifted the wrappings a bit to find a kodachi encased in a simple lacquer sheath. Lord Hokage, what is dash? Tsum began. This is Naruto's birthday present from his parents, Sarutobi replied in a hushed tone. You remember Minato's trademark weapon, don't you? Tsum's eyes widened in surprise. You mean this is the dash? She gasped. Sarutobi nodded, answering all her speculations in that one gesture. Yes, it is. Although it is his birthright, I feel that Naruto is not yet ready to wield such a blade. That is why, as his legal guardian, you are entitled to full acquisition of the Namikaze family blade until Naruto has proven himself worthy to be its master. And how would I know when that would be? Tsum asked, genuinely confused. Sarutobi's reply was as cryptic as it was intriguing. That would be the day Naruto finds his warrior soul. 1 year after Sarutobi's visit, Naruto and Kiba were now eligible to enter the Ninja Academy. During that time, the boys had earned the titles of the prankster kings of Konoha. Their pranks were not limited to releasing the deer at the Nara ranch, injecting Ibiki Marino's truth serum into the Akimiki soldier pills, and a fake letter telling the Aburames to house sit the Yamanaka flower shop. Although those clans were family friends of the Inuzukas, it did not stop them from hauling the boys back to their mother with complaints, and have her give Naruto and Kiba the scolding of their life. But Mum, Kiba whined. Do we have to behave in school? Quiet, runt, scolded his mother, while straightening out the wrinkles on her son's hoodie. While you're there, I want you to act like the ninja you're going to be. I've had it with the complaints I'm getting from the village. They're piling up faster than the Hokage's paperwork. Kiba's in trouble. Kiba's in trouble, Naruto chanted in a sing-song voice. He went on and on until Tsum pinched him in the ear. Oh! What was that for? Naruto yelled, rubbing his sore ear. That is what I call karma, said Tsum, turning her attention to her second son and tidying up his hair. Now off to school with you too, she called, giving each of the boys a motherly kiss on the cheek and receiving a hug from both boys in return. As Kiba and Naruto disappeared down the street, Tsum and Kuramaru stood in the doorway watching them with pride and nostalgia. They grow up so fast. Looking at the roster for his class, Iruka Umino did not give the names much thought until he came to the letter I. As he scanned across the list, he came across two names that shook his bearings: Inuzuka, Kiba, and Inuzuka, Naruto. He rubbed his eyes and stared at the two names again. As he passed out in shock, he could only think of one thing. This is going to be the longest 5 years of my life. Naruto and Kiba finally arrived to find their friends already in class. Shikamaru was sitting by the window, staring at the clouds floating by. Chuji sat beside the pineapple-headed boy, inhaling chips, while Shino was situated beside Chuji, quietly observing an ant crawl over his pencil. A bit further off, Sakura and Ino were having another inane argument over Sasuke Uchiha, and behind them, sitting all by herself, was Hinata Hyuga. Before the boys could say anything, a crisp voice dissolved the classroom chatter. All right, class, into your seats, Iruka called, clapping his hands. And that includes you too, he said, looking at the boys before him. Naruto and Kiba obeyed and took the two empty seats beside Hinata. Naruto sat right beside Hinata and Kiba sat beside Naruto. As soon as the Inuzuka brothers sat down, Iruka began the orientation. By the time Iruka had finished the orientation, it was already 5 minutes past noon. The second he dismissed the class for lunch, Everyone practically made a beeline for the door, anxious to get fed. Outside, the other students were already in the academy courtyard enjoying their break. Man, that was boring! Kiba exclaimed, stretching his arms. Tell me about it, Naruto replied. That orientation left me more drained than Shikamaru before and after naps. Hey! I resent that, protested the lazy Nara. Chuji patted his friend's back. But it's true, you know, he replied, agreeing with Naruto. Shino snorted, repressing the chuckle that was threatening to erupt. Hey guys, over here! The boys looked around to find Sakura waving at them with Ino and Hinata. Joining the girls, they found a nice spot to eat their lunches underneath an aspen tree. While they were eating, they decided to swap each other's lunches. It was during this taste test that they found that Ino had the best vegetable dishes, the Hyugas had excellent rice balls, Mrs. Haruno made the best sweet dumplings, the Inuzukas had the best meat dishes, the Akimikis had great noodles, Yoshino made the best soup, and Mrs. Aburame made the best candies. So far, the children had a nice, peaceful lunch. That is, until Kiba made a joke and Naruto laughed, making water shoot out of his nose. This resulted in everyone else laughing, including Shino. When Shino laughed, it diverted everyone's attention from Naruto because it was a known fact that Shino never laughed. Not far from the cheery little gathering, Sasuke Uchiha stared wistfully at the 8 friends. He wished he could join in the fun, but what would his father say? The Uchihas were one of the oldest and noblest clans in Konoha, and it would cause a veritable uproar with the rest of the Uchiha clan if they saw him socializing with the so-called lesser clans, especially the Inuzukas. It was true that Hinata Hyuga of the noble Hyuga clan was in that group, but she was not the Hyuga heir. It was her cousin, Niji. It was Hyuga law that only a male Hyuga could assume the position of clan head, and so Niji had been brought into the main house and raised as a member of the main house. But then again, even Niji was friends with the Inuzuka brothers. Not close friends like the Nara, Akimichi, Yamanaka, or Aburame, but friends nonetheless. Sasuke-kun. The Uchiha looked up to see Sakura Haruno looking at him worriedly. What? He hissed. The pink-haired girl gulped nervously at the coldness of Sasuke's voice. You seemed lonely, so Naruto and Kiba told me you could sit with us if you like. They said they wouldn't mind, Sakura replied, taking his hand. I don't need your pity, civilian, the Uchiha spat, yanking his arm from Sakura's grasp and promptly walking away. Sakura stared at the retreating back of the Uchiha, her jade orbs slowly brimming with tears. Silently, she began to sob until she felt a comforting hand on her shoulder. She turned her head to find Kiba. Don't cry, Sakura. That jerk isn't even worth your tears. Come back and join us, said the dog boy, taking the Haruno's hand. Sniffling and wiping away her tears, Sakura nodded and followed the Inuzuka back to the group. What was that all about? Asked Naruto as Kiba and Sakura sat back down. Nothing, replied his brother. Uchiha was just being a tall piece of dookie. I know what it is, said Naruto with a knowing grin. You like Sakura. Hee hee. Kiba likes girls. Kiba like girls. Kiba likes OW. The blonde Inuzuka's sing-song chant was cut short by Kiba and Sakura's fists crashing onto his skull. What was that for? Whined the blonde, nursing the twin lumps now forming on his head. That's for being an annoying twerp, huffed a blushing Kiba and Sakura. Lunch was soon over and the students reluctantly trudged back to class. As Iruka began his very first lecture, Shikamaru felt his eyelids drop. How troublesome, he yawned, and fell asleep. He was promptly awakened by a flying piece of chalk. Mr. Nara, scolded Iruka, glaring at his charge. I would appreciate it very much if you put some effort in paying attention. After chewing out Shikamaru for a bit longer, the teacher resumed his lecture. As Iruka droned on about God knew what, the Inuzuka brothers began to feel somewhat antsy. Kiba leaned towards to Naruto and whispered, Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yep, the blonde whispered back. The brothers looked at each other and a mischievous glint lit up in both their eyes as they came to that one unanimous thought. Prank time! While Iruka was writing on the board, he accidentally dropped the chalk, and as he bent down to pick it up, there was a sudden noise that sounded a lot like PHWWWT. Titters and giggles erupted from the rest of the class, including Shino, who burst into raucous laughter for the second time that day. Embarrassed beyond compare, Iruka quickly stood up, only to have another PHWWWT sound, resulting in even more laughter. Okay, that's Ian a PHWWWT. Dash. PHWWWT. Geez, Iruka-sensei, what did you eat for lunch today? Asked Kiba, pinching his nose. It's not me. exclaimed the irate and mortified schoolteacher, only to receive another PHWWWT. Naruto, for the meantime, was laughing out loud and having the time of his life torturing the hapless teacher, when a fly flew into the room. It circled around for a bit, before flying into his wide, open mouth. The blonde's hands automatically flew for his throat as he hacked about, trying to expel the invading insect. As he did so, the whoopee cushion he was holding flew out of his hands and landed right in front of Iruka. "So it was you this whole time, huh?" scowled the Chunin, simultaneously confiscating the object that had cost him a good amount of grief and giving Naruto a hard whack on the back that finally dislodged the fly. Naruto coughed a bit before answering. "Ah, come on, Iruka-sensei, it was just a bit of harmless fun." "Oh really?" said the teacher, arching one of his eyebrows. "Well, here's my idea of a bit of harmless fun, everyone. Take out your pencils and paper. Pop quiz!" The entire class groaned and glared at the poor Inuzuka. It was now late afternoon, and the academy students were now making their way home after an eventful first day. For most of them, home would probably mean a bit of rest, television, and a hot meal, but for Iruka Yumino's class, it meant more studying. "Thanks a lot, Naruto," grumbled Ino, giving her fellow blonde the evil eye. "Not only did you let Iruka-sensei give us a really tough quiz on the first day, you also had to let him give us an essay homework." "What are you talking about, Ino Pig?" asked Sakura. "That homework would probably raise our average from that disaster of a quiz." Ino gave an unladylike snort. "Figures. Only a total egghead like you would like homework." "Care to repeat that, Miss Piggy?" Sakura challenged. Hinata tried to intervene. "Gee girls, please don't FFI," she stammered. Sakura and Ino looked at Hinata, then at each other, and huffed. "And here we go again," muttered Shikamaru, having seen this debacle one too many times. "I tell you, with the exception of Hinata, most girls are really in return," he was rounded on by a furious-looking Ino and Sakura. "Care to finish that sentence, Shikakun?" Ino asked with fake sweetness. Behind her, Sakura ominously cracked her knuckles. Shikamaru felt a chill run up his spine and clammed up the rest of the way. 6 years came and went without a hitch. Despite his class clown attitude, Naruto was actually an excellent student. Even though he made wisecracks in the classroom and launched spitballs and paper shuriken, he always managed to stay at the top of his class. Although Kiba shared Naruto's class clownness, he was not as good as Naruto. However, it did not mean that he was that bad either. With his brother Naruto and his friend Sakura tutoring him, Kiba was in no danger of earning the dead last title. When Naruto and Kiba turned 8, Sim presented them with their ninja hounds and began their training almost immediately. Kiba had gotten a white floppy-eared puppy by the name of Akamaru, while Naruto received a red pointy-eared, bushy-tailed puppy named Amaru. So far, the two Inuzuka boys had already learned the Tsuga, Gutsuga, Shikyayu no Jutsu, Jujin Bunshin, and the Jujin Bunshin Renan. In addition to this, Akamaru and Amaru had also learned dynamic marking, bullet drive, and Koinu Kuragaru, trans, puppy roll. It was now Genin exam day and the Inuzuka brothers were rather nervous, or at least Kiba was. As they shuffled to the academy, Kiba could feel the cold sweat forming on his brow. On the way, they met up with Shikamaru and Chuji, who were equally nervous. Further along the road, the boys came across Shino, Sakura, Ino, and Hinata. As walked to school, the 8 friends began to predict the outcome of the Genin exams. "I hope it's not too hard," muttered Chuji through a mouthful of chips. "I heard they made last year's graduates run through the obstacle course blindfolded." "Don't worry," said Naruto. "That story is just a myth, just like the Rikudo Sennin and the Valley of the End." "Dude," called Kiba, nudging his brother. "Don't you remember the time Hana came home looking like something a cat dragged in? If I recall, that was the day of her Genin exam. Oh man, we are so the black stuff they scrape off toast." "It would be best if you do not go into hysterics," droned the ever-logical Shino. "It only aggravates the intensity of the situation." Naruto, Kiba, and Chuji stared at Shino as if he had grown a second head. "In English, Poindexter," growled Kiba. "Troublesome," yawned the lazy Nara. He said, "Don't panic and take it easy, you're only making the situation worse." Suddenly, there was a panicked cry from both Sakura and Ino. "What happened?" asked Naruto, as he and the other boys ran to where the girls were, only to find Hinata sprawled unconscious. Sakura bit her lip. "I have no clue. 1 minute, we were just discussing about the test, and the next thing we knew, Hinata was out like a light." She snapped her fingers. "Just like that." Naruto opened his Coleman and splashed some water onto Hinata's face and gave it a few light taps. Just then, the Hyuga began to wake up. Oh, where am I? What's going on? She asked, bringing a hand up to her head. As her vision returned, the first thing she saw in full clarity were a pair of concerned, blue eyes hovering just a few inches away from her own. A blush spread across her cheeks in full force. And Naruto? Glad you're back, Hinata-chan, said the blonde Inuzuka, smiling gently at her. You had us worried for a second there. With Naruto in very close proximity, Hinata felt rather lightheaded and was close to passing out. But this time, rescue came in the form of Ino. Are you all right? She asked, helping her friend up. You gave us quite a scare. I am fine, answered Hinata. Just and nervous. Naruto fished out a pack of soda crackers from his backpack. Nibble on a few of these, he said, offering the crackers to the Hyuga. It usually helps calm me down when I get the jitters. Ah. Isn't that sweet, Kiba-ku'd, nudging both Shikamaru and Shuji. Are Naruto-chan's in love? He teased, making Hinata grow even redder. Don't call me Naruto-chan, dog breath, hollered the irate blonde, conking Kiba on the head. We eat the same thing, dumbass, Kiba called, reciprocating the gesture. Oh, shut up, Kibble. What did you call me? The brunette growled. Naruto smirked slyly. I called you Kibble, that's what your dog eats, and that's what your name sounds like. That's it, fish cake. You're a dead man, yelled the older Inuzuka, chasing his brother. The others just looked at each other and laughed as the Inuzukas chased each other all the way to the academy. The gang had arrived to the academy on time to find the Uchiha survivor glaring at them. Ever since Itachi had gone off the deep end and killed off most of the other Uchihas, Sasuke had become even more distant to other people. There were even rumors that he may have become psychologically unstable. What are you looking at? Snarled Kiba, returning the Uchiha's death glare. Sasuke simply gave a contemptuous grunt and walked away. I tell you, that guy is weird, exclaimed Kiba. Even weirder than Shino? Asked Naruto. Pfft, huffed Kiba. Uchiha team makes Shino look like the definition of normal. Throughout the conversation, the other students could have sworn they saw a small tick forming right over the Aburame's temple. Okay people, called Iruka. This year's Genin exam gives special attention to the illusion techniques such as the Bunshin and the Henge. When I call your name, please come down in front and transform into either me or the Hokage, and then create 3 Bunshins. First up Aburame, Shino. As Iruka came to Naruto's name, he transformed into a perfect copy of the Hokage. At this, he cried out, dreams do come true, earning a chorus of giggles from those present. Next, he created 3 perfect Bunshins. Excellent, chirped Iruka. You pass. You may now receive your forehead protector from Mizuki. After everyone had performed the test, Iruka announced that the test results would be released tomorrow. That meant the title of number 1 rookie would not be revealed until the next day. Naruto fidgeted with his forehead protector. He really wanted to know now. That only meant one thing. Sneaking into the academy after everyone else had gone home. Why are we here again? Asked Kiba in a hushed tone. If I don't like coming here during the day, what makes you think I'd like coming here during dusk? I need to know those results, replied Naruto as he crept under one of the windows of his old classroom. Suddenly, he froze upon hearing muffled whispers coming from the room above them. He signaled Kiba to keep quiet, and the brothers silently crept closer to catch bits and pieces of the conversation. It's not that I don't agree, Mizuki, came a harsh whisper. What if we get caught? That's where the henge comes in, sneered the one called Mizuki. You go in as that fool Iruka, he gets framed and goes to jail, and we escape with the forbidden scroll. Naruto and Kiba gasped. Iruka-sensei was in trouble. Having heard enough, the 2 boys ran back home to formulate a plan to save their favorite teacher. Mizuki and his accomplice smirked greedily. The Tokubetsu Jonin on duty were nowhere to be seen, leaving the scroll unguarded. Seeing the opportunity, they transformed into Iruka and took the scroll. Upon exiting the shrine, he transformed back to his true form, and handed the other end of the scroll to Mizuki, the 2 men fleeing into the encroaching darkness. Ugh, it's really heavy, whined the accomplice. Shut up, snarled the silver-haired Chunin. Just a little bit more, and we can finally get out of this rat hole of a village. Is that so? Someone called. The 2 men looked around, but saw no one. Where was the voice coming from? Over here, morons! The scroll disappeared in a cloud of smoke, only to be replaced by a blonde-haired boy accompanied by a small, red, pointy-eared dog. We've been discovered, gasped the accomplice. You idiot! Snarled Mizuki. We're Chunin. He's only a genin, a fresh one at that. Not to mention that we outnumber him 2-1. A fight with him would be over in a jiff. Oh really? Drawled Naruto, forming the necessary hand seals. What if I told you I can do this? Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. One Naruto became 3, and the 2 Chunin stared at the sight. How did you? The first Naruto smirked. You guys were taking too long, so I decided to pass the time with a little advanced reading. But I'm not done yet. Making another hand sign, he yelled, Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu. The small puppy disappeared in a cloud of smoke and a fourth Naruto took his place. At this, all the Narutos gave a rather demonic smirk. Let the party begin! They shouted in unison. Jujin Kage Bunshin Renan. One Naruto gave Mizuki a particularly vicious uppercut. Nu. Another sent the second Chunin airborne with a flying kick. Zu. The other 2 Narutos reacquainted the 2 men with the ground. Ka. The first 2 Narutos kicked the 2 men towards each other, making sure that the 2 criminals were on the path of collision. And this is the finisher, called the original Naruto. Shihokugutsuga, trans, piercing Fang from 4 directions. The screams of Mizuki and his accomplice echoed through the forest as Naruto, Amaru, and the 2 clones decimated them. There they are! Yelled a familiar voice. Kiba and Akamaru, Iruka, Tsum and Kuramaru, and 4 ANBU came running into the battlefield. Their jaws nearly dropped at the damage the criminals suffered at the hands of Naruto. Whoa! You did this? Asked Kiba, nudging the battered and unconscious Mizuki with his foot. Yep. Naruto beamed proudly. Then looking at the stern faces of Iruka and Tsum, he paled considerably. Am I in trouble? He asked, looking like a child who had been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Tsum frowned at her sons. You snuck into the academy, entered the shrine, hid the scroll. Naruto and Kiba hugged each other in fear of their mother's wrath. He was going to be grounded until the day he died. Beat up a pair of criminals, and saved the day. Like the sun bursting through a cloudy day, Tsum's face broke into a smile. I'm very proud of both of you. Like Tsum, Iruka's stern face had also broke into a smile as he clasped both Naruto and Kiba's hands. I am forever grateful to the both of you. By foiling Mizuki's plan, not only did you save me from a terrible injustice, but you have also proved your allegiance to Konoha. You've become true ninja and I am proud to have been your teacher. At this, the Inuzuka brothers launched themselves onto Iruka and Tsum, hugging the death out of them as the ANBU dragged the 2 traitors away. Meanwhile at the Hokage Tower, Sarutobi chuckled lightly as he had observed all the events on his crystal ball. Naruto Namikaze Inuzuka, the warrior's soul has awakened within you. It was finally team assignment day, and the Inuzuka brothers were more than excited. Because it was also the day their ninja IDs were going to be taken, Tsum had bought each of them a new shinobi outfit the day before. Kiba had gotten a navy blue short-sleeved hoodie, a pair of dark olive green ninja trousers, and a pair of navy blue fingerless gloves. Naruto had gotten a blood-red short-sleeved jacket with a faux fur trim, a sleeveless mesh shirt, black gloves, and a pair of khaki shinobi trousers. After dressing in their new clothes, the boys came down to the room to find Hana busy at the stove, and Tsum reading an issue of Shinobi Daily. Akamaru and Amaru were play-fighting under the kitchen table. Morning, twerps, beamed Hana. I hope you like soba. She grinned as she set a steaming bowl before each of her brothers. I wanted ramen, Naruto pouted. Hana's eye earned a murderous glint. Well, you're having soba whether you like it or not, she replied, cracking her knuckles. Naruto gulped. Yes, ma'am. As the brothers heartily slurped through their meal, Tsum had left the table, but not before telling the boys to meet her at the Inuzuka shrine after they ate. When they had finished, the brothers procked with their mother's orders and went to the family shrine. They found her standing in middle of the shrine, cradling a pair of kodachi. Is that? Kiba pointed, recognizing one of the blades. Tsum smiled. Yes it is, Runt. This is the Inuzuka family blade, the Shiroga, trans, white fang. It was your father's and now it's yours. All right, cheered Kiba. I get a blade. Ha! Beat that, Naruto! Ignoring Kiba's gloating, Tsum presented Naruto with the second kodachi. The blonde unsheathed the blade and looked at it with a questioning gaze before sheathing it back. I'm not worthy, he whispered. I don't think I deserve a blade as fine as this. Kiba stopped his teasing upon hearing his brother's words. Well, I feel that you deserve it, Tsum reasoned firmly. Naruto looked up to his mother. What do you mean? I'm not even a blood Inuzuka. Not a blood Inuzuka. The Inuzuka matriarch roared, fire flashing in her eyes. Runt, you may not have been born an Inuzuka, but I'll be damned if you didn't act like one. Your actions yesterday not only proved your utmost loyalty to the village, but also saved your teacher from a terrible injustice. It's not blood that makes an Inuzuka an Inuzuka, it's the doctrines they follow. Loyalty, trust, courage, honor. These are the 4 pillars of the House of Dogs. These are the merits of a true Inuzuka, and you, Runt, carry them all. Not to mention that you have found your warrior's soul, the will to fight to protect. So take it. Take the Kodachi. Mom's right, Naruto, said Kiba, walking towards them. We may not be linked by blood, but we're still family, and we'll always stick by you no matter what. Emotions flooded through the blonde. Before he knew it, he had run up to his mother and brother, and enveloped them in a hug, tears flowing down his whiskered cheeks. Tsum and Kiba returned the hug, both equally touched by the display. After Naruto's little episode, the brothers straightened themselves up and kissed their mother goodbye before speeding off to school with their respective ninja dogs. Wow, Naruto, Kiba looking good, smirked Ino, giving both boys the stare down. Cut it out, Ino pig, called Sakura, dragging her friend away. By the way, Kiba, you look nice. What? You hypocrite! Yelled the outraged blonde. As the 2 girls began to bicker back and forth, Kiba looked at Sakura. She did look rather pretty in her red ninja dress and white shorts. He felt himself blush. What's happening? Why am I feeling like this? Hey Kiba, look! There's Hinata. Hi Hinata-chan. Naruto's voice broke Kiba out of his train of thought to wave at the approaching Hyuga. Hinata wore a light blue kimono top with lavender sash over a pair of white ninja trousers. As soon as she saw Naruto, a blush began to quickly form around her cheeks. Kiba noticed it, and turned to Naruto, who seemed oblivious. Great, he thought. The one girl that has a crush on him, and he's too dumb to even notice. Just then, Amara jumped out of Naruto's arms and bounded towards Hinata, yipping and jumping around her. The Hyuga's surprised squeak caught Naruto's attention, and he went over and picked the puppy away from Hinata. Sorry Hinata-chan, he grinned, rubbing the back of his head. That Amara gets really hyper sometimes. Now if Amara could talk, he would have said something along the lines of I was trying to hook you up, you ungrateful moron. But of course Amaru, despite being the son of Kuramaru, still could not talk, so therefore, Naruto had no idea what the puppy's motives were. Okay class, quiet down, called Iruka as he entered the room. Before I start with the team assignments, I would like to announce this year's Rookie of the Year. He pulled out a scroll and opened it. And the Rookie of the Year is unbelievable! He exclaimed, eyes growing wide. For the first time in the history of the Konoha Ninja Academy, we have 2 Rookies of the Year. Congratulations Naruto Inuzuka and Sasuke Uchiha. The 2 boys were immediately swamped with congratulations from their fellow peers. Naruto was genuinely pleased, and though the Uchiha appeared indifferent, inwardly, he was seething. When the general chaos from the well-wishers had simmered down, Iruka continued with his announcements. Also, don't forget to pass by room 201 to have your ninja ID picture taken, and then proceed to room 205 to meet your Jonin senseis. Now for the team lineups. Team 1. As Iruka called out the names on the teams, various thoughts began to race through the Rookie Nine's minds. Man, I hope don't get stuck with the Uchiha team, thought Kiba. He's such a prick. I hope I can be with Naruto-kun, mused Hinata, looking at the boy, and twiddling her fingers. Naruto-kun. Kaya. I'd better be in a good team, screeched inner Sakura. I hope the Hokage was logical with his arrangements, thought Shino. I'd better be in the strongest lineup. I will not be dragged down by weaklings, thought Sasuke. Hinata-chan looks kinda red, maybe she'll feel better after I take her to Ichiraku Ramen. Yay ramen, cheered Naruto, while sneaking an occasional glance at the Hyuga girl. TCH how troublesome, grumbled Shikamaru, looking as peeved as ever. I want to be on a team with Sasuke-kun, Ino sighed as she gave the Uchiha a wistful look. I hope our new sensei likes barbecue, thought Chuji in between bites. Team 7. Rang out Iruka's voice. Shikamaru Nara, Naruto Inuzuka, and Hinata Hyuga. Your Jonin sensei is Kakashi Hatake. Hinata blushed as she looked at her blonde Adonis. Thank you? Alright, settle down now, Iruka's voice called out again. Teammates Sasuke Uchiha, Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba hung his head miserably. Someone up there must really hate me. And Sakura Haruno. You're. Hoo-hoo. Kiba howled, doing a happy dance. I'm on a team with Sakura. Kiba, ground out Iruka. Sit down. Kiba obeyed immediately. Now, as I was saying, the scarred shonen continued. Your Jonin sensei will be Kurenai Yehi. Hey Naruto, whispered Kiba. What? Came the irritated reply. I'm on a team with Sakura. Yeah, cry me a river, why don't ya? Naruto grumbled, embarrassed by Kiba's shenanigans. Team 10, Iruka read out the last team on his list. Ino Yamanaka, Chuji Akimichi, and Shino Abirame. Ino's shoulders slumped at the announcement. Your Jonin sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. You are now all dismissed and I wish you the best of luck in your career. After the graduates all had their pictures taken and met their Jonin senseis, Naruto, Amaru, Shikamaru, and Hinata were now the only ones left waiting in room 205. Where is he? Screeched Naruto, pacing the room back and forth. And Naruto-kun, I think you should be a bit more patient, stammered Hinata. Sorry Hinata-chan, Naruto replied sheepishly. It's just that what kind of Jonin sensei is 3 hours late in meeting his own team? Just then, a devilish smirk came across his face as the proverbial light bulb lit over his head. So he likes being late, eh? Let's see how he likes this, he snickered evilly as he propped a chalkboard eraser over the door. Naruto-kun, called Hinata. I don't think you should do that. Naruto looked at Hinata strangely. He deserves it. Besides, I haven't had a good prank in a while. Amara yipped in agreement. See, even Amara thinks so too. Just let him do his prank before he gets too troublesome, Shikamaru yawned lazily. Yo. The door opened a crack and a shaggy gray head popped in, only to be beamed by a chalkboard eraser. That's our Jonin leader? Thought Shikamaru and Hinata in unison. Naruto, on the other hand, was rolling on the floor laughing. He fell for it. I can't believe he fell for it. The Jonin raised his visible eyebrow. My first impression on this team, I don't like you. Naruto, Hinata, and Shikamaru fell down anime style. Couldn't their Jonin leader at least be a bit more tactful? Okay, let's move, said the Jonin, motioning for his charges to follow him. Where are we going, sensei? Asked Hinata, gathering up all the courage she could to ask the question. The Jonin turned to the Hyuga and gave her his infamous eye smile. You'll see. Now follow me. At the academy rooftop, Team 7 was gathered around a semicircle as they began their orientation. Okay, hummed the Jonin thoughtfully. I'd like each of you to share a little bit of something about yourselves. Ugh, what a drag, groaned Shikamaru. And what may that something be? You know, said the ninja, waving his hand dismissively. Your likes, dislikes, future plans, hobbies, and crap like that. So why don't you start? Dared Naruto. Okay, said the Jonin. My name is Kakashi Hatake. What I like and dislike are none of your business, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata sweat dropped. My future plan is I don't know and I have too many hobbies to mention. By the time Kakashi was finished, the rest of Team 7 was staring at him like some sort of freak show. Well, said the Cyclopean Jonin. Who's next? How about you? He asked, pointing to Naruto. Naruto jumped up and faced his team. Hail, I'm Naruto Inuzuka. I like ramen, my neendog Amaru, and hanging out with my friends. I don't like bullies, mean people, and traitors. My hobbies are gardening, training with Amaru, testing different kinds of ramen, and messing with my brother Kiba. My dream is to be the greatest Hokage ever. Believe it! Okay, said Kakashi. That's the #1 rookie? Well, he's got guts, I can see that. He still has a long way to go. You're next, he chirped, pointing at the bored Shikamaru. Troublesome, yawned the lazy Nara. The name's Shikamaru Nara. I like clouds and stars. I dislike work and troublesome situations. My hobbies include cloud watching, stargazing, and playing shogi or go. My dream is to live the life of an average ninja, marry someone that's either too pretty nor too ugly, have 2 kids, a girl, then a boy, and peacefully die in my sleep before they do. Well, that was rather detailed, Kakashi said. Humph, as lazy as every other Nara male. Let's see if he inherited their legendary genius. Hinata was last to go. And my name is Hinata Hyuga. Like she looked at Naruto and blushed. The blonde may have been oblivious, but Kakashi caught it. I dislike people who call others weak. She spoke with such ferocity, startling Kakashi. A meek and humble Hyuga, now that's new, mused Kakashi. And she seems to like that blonde Inuzuka kid, he chuckled inwardly. My hobbies are making medicinal ointments and flower pressing, Hinata continued. And my dream is to become confident enough to change the Hyuga clan for the better. Well then, said Kakashi, clapping his hands together. Now that we know each other, I'd like to brief you on the duties of a genin. The life of a genin is not exactly glamorous. In fact, you'll be performing many demeaning chores before you do anything remotely adventurous. Oh great, snorted Shikamaru. Chores. If I wanted to do that, I could have done that at home. Are we going to start today? Because if we are, I have a feeling that this is really going to be a drag. Kakashi gave his infamous eye smile. Actually today, you won't be doing anything. Shikamaru breathed a sigh of relief. However, tomorrow morning we'll be doing some training instead. Naruto could barely contain his excitement. What kind of training, sensei? Sparring? Water walking? New jutsus? Kakashi just smiled on. Nope, and definitely no. You'll just have to see tomorrow. Meet me by the Konoha footbridge at 6 o'clock sharp. Dismissed. As the new genin turned to leave, Kakashi called their attention once more. And one more thing, don't eat breakfast tomorrow. Why? Hinata asked. Kakashi continued smiling before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Because you'll throw up. Well, that was weird, remarked Shikamaru. Even weirder than Shino? Asked Naruto. At the barbecue grill, Shino suddenly sneezed hard, sending a bug-filled snot rocket, grossing out his sensei and teammates. Someone better not be talking about me. Good morning, Naruto called out to his teammates as he and Amaru arrived at the wooden bridge. Hinata blushed and greeted him in return, whereas Shikamaru opened an eye in acknowledgement. However, there was no hide or hair of their Jonin leader. So where's Kakashi? Asked Naruto, looking around. Shikamaru shrugged. Beats me. Arg! Growled Naruto in aggravation. He's doing it again. Team 7 waited for what seemed to be an eternity. 3 hours later, Kakashi finally arrived in a poof of smoke. Yo! Chirped the Jonin. You're late, accused Naruto, irately marching towards the Jonin and pointing at his compass watch. Amaru growled in agreement. Kakashi just gave him an eye smile. Sorry about that. There was this monkey on a unicycle and I just had to watch it. Naruto, Hinata, and Shikamaru just gave him a yeah, and just who are you trying to kid, look. Ignoring his charges, Kakashi pulled out 4 bento boxes from his backpack. Soon after that, he took out a pair of bells and tied them around his waist. Seeing that his students were giving him confused looks, he decided to explain his actions. Remember when I told you not to eat breakfast? Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata nodded. Well, Kakashi continued. The goal of this test is to capture the bells from me. If you fail to get a bell, you'll be tied to the post over there and watch as I eat your lunch. Team 7 blinked at their sensei in shock. He was even more sadistic than the entire ANBU torture and interrogation. So, are you ready? Kakashi smirked under his mask. The genin nodded in response. Okay then, begin. Amaru, let's do this, yelled Naruto. Shikyayu no Jutsu. As Naruto's appearance became more feral, the Inuzuka and his dog charged towards Kakashi trying to catch him. Whoops. Too slow, mocked Kakashi as he dodged one of Naruto's swiping blows. Hinata and Shikamaru watched in shock as Kakashi suddenly intercepted Naruto and Amaru's attacks and countered them with a split kick. Dang, he's fast, thought the Nara genius as he watched Kakashi beat the ever-living crap out of Naruto and Amaru. Ninpo, Senin Goroshi, yelled the masked nin, jabbing 2 of his fingers right up Naruto's butt crack. The Inuzuka he shot up into the air with a howl of pain. His canine partner ran into Naruto's general direction, hoping to find him. So Path Kakashi was cut off in mid-gloat when a pale hand brushed by him. He dodged and turned quickly enough to find Hinata in her Juken stance. The Hyuga activated her Byakugan and scanned for the right Tenketsu points. Finding them, she soon sent another flurry of strikes towards the Kopinin. He leapt backwards, forming hand signs automatically, inwardly impressed at the need to actually use one of his 1,000 jutsus. Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu! A great blast of fire rocketed from the Jonin's mouth towards the pale-eyed girl. Her reflexes kicking in, Hinata ducked as the attack blazed over her head. Kakashi was amazed the fireball was far too large to be easily dodged. And Hayashi had doubts about her skill? Hinata quickly jumped back up to renew her attack, but Kakashi was faster. In the blink of an eye, he had grabbed her from behind, incapacitating her. Just then, a lone shuriken whizzed towards him, and he leapt away, the weapon veering into the distance. Kakashi followed the trajectory to find Shikamaru standing on an outcrop of rock. The silver-haired man smirked. Things were finally getting interesting. Naruto and Amaru were working their way back to the battle when a shuriken flew past them before finally embedding itself into a nearby tree. Recognizing the scent the weapon emitted, Naruto realized that this was his ticket to getting back. With Amaru tracing out the scent trail, Naruto quickly made his way to aid his teammates. Putting effort for once in his life, Shikamaru aimed another volley of shuriken towards the Kopinin, buying more time for Hinata to attack once more. Kakashi was practically at his wits' end. His strongest jutsus were far too powerful, and his weakest far too inefficient. He dodged away from Hinata's palm and grabbed her wrist before swinging her away from him. Although Kakashi did not use his full strength, the amount of force he used was enough to throw the Hyuga off balance. Fortunately, Naruto arrived just in time to catch her. "You okay?" he asked. Hinata nodded, blushing. Gently setting her down, Naruto's gaze turned to Kakashi, who was starting to look rather winded. Suddenly, an idea clicked, and he shifted into the Inuzuka taijutsu stance. "Can you still fight, Hinata-chan?" "Yes," answered the kunoichi, following suit with her juken stance. Grinning ferally, Naruto charged with Hinata right behind him. And although Kakashi managed to block every attack the Inuzuka duo and Hinata made, the two of them were giving him a lot more trouble than any genin ever would. As Kakashi dodged the combined assault of Hinata, Naruto, and Amaru's taijutsu, he never noticed someone quietly utter Kage main no jutsu. Within seconds, Kakashi found his limbs completely immobilized. Turning his head, he found Shikamaru Nara with his hands in the rat seal. "Very clever," mused the Kopinin. "Inuzuka and Hyuga distract me and you trap me. So you do understand the point of this exercise?" "Of course," yawned Shikamaru. "This exercise is about teamwork. The idea that a bunch of fresh genin like us can single-handedly beat a jonin like you is just preposterously troublesome." Kakashi looked at his team and saw bright, hopeful faces that were becoming of great ninjas. "Well then," he said in a solemn tone, "I have no choice but to." The genin gulped in fear and anticipation. "Pass you!" chirped the Kopinin, practically beaming. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata looked at each other. Did they just hear him right? They passed? Just then. "Yippee!" Naruto screeched. He immediately began dancing with Amaru. Hinata merely blushed and twiddled her fingers, and Shikamaru sighed in relief. Suddenly, there were 3 simultaneous growls, and the genin looked at Kakashi sheepishly. "Oh right." Kakashi laughed lightly and handed his charges 3 of the bento boxes. "Here are your lunches. Enjoy. You guys deserve it." Looking at the now official Team 7, Kakashi could not help but smile at the first and only team that understood the concept of his exercise. As his eye came across the blonde Inuzuka, he could not help but be reminded of 2 certain members on his own team from his genin days. Omake, Team 8. Kurina Yuhi was having a field day. With an elitist Uchiha, the rowdiest Inuzuka, and a civilian-born genin on her team, it was apparent that her lineup would need a lot of shaping up and a saint's worth of patience to deal with. She rubbed her temples as she sat down and introduced herself. "My name is Kurina Yuhi. I enjoy drinking tea and working in my garden. I don't like perverts and narrow-minded people. My hobbies are reading and watching out for my friend Anko. My dream is to ensure that I will make productive ninjas out of my teams. Who's next?" Kiba, who was always enthusiastic, was first. "The name's Kiba Inuzuka. I like bugging my brother Naruto and playing with my dog Akamaru. I dislike cats and buttfaces like Sasuke Uchiha." At this, the Uchiha heir glared at him. "My hobbies are hanging out with my friends and coming up with new pranks. My dream is to be the best hunter nin in the shinobi world." A little rough around the edges, but with the right motivation, he might just achieve his goal. "Very good," Kurinai called. "Next?" It was now Sakura's turn. "I'm Sakura Haruno. She looked at Kiba and blushed. "I dislike bullies and idiots. My hobbies are reading and hanging out with my friends. My dream is to be a great ninja despite my civilian origins." A little fangirlish towards the Inuzuka, but she has the determination and willpower to become a good ninja, Kurinai thought. Sasuke was last. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I like very few things and dislike many other things. My hobbies are training to become stronger, and my dream is to kill a certain man and avenge my clan. At the rate he's going to end just like that man. Maybe I can still dissuade him from the path of destruction," mused the red-eyed jonin. "Anyway, now that we know each other, I have tests for you." Kiba groaned. "Another test? I thought we were past that after we graduated from the academy. Actually, this test is to see if you're ready to become true genin, came a new voice. Teammate looked up to see a kunoichi with purple hair pulled into a messy bun. She was dressed in a mesh bodysuit with a yellow miniskirt over it, covered by a tan trench coat. Her face was pulled into a sadistic smirk that made Akamaru shiver in Kiba's hoodie. Who the heck are you? Sasuke asked apprehensively. Team, replied Kurenai. This is the Anko I was talking about. At this, Anko's grin grew wider. She'll be helping us with our exercise. All you have to do is just try to touch the hem of my sleeve. But of course, in order to do that, you'll have to get through Anko, and she's quite notorious for playing rough. Anko pulled out a pair of kunai from her trench coat. I hope you're ready, kiddies, she grinned. Because I hope your blood is as sweet as you look. The children immediately scattered as Anko hurled the kunai. Kiba grabbed Sakura and ducked into a nearby bush. Damn! Kiba swore. That chick is psycho. There's no way we can break into her defense. Maybe we can, whispered Sakura. What do you mean? Asked Sasuke as he appeared beside the two. Among all of us, you're the weakest. Aside from your chakra control and a few measly genjutsu, you're basically useless. Sakura hung her head. Her eyes began to glisten with tears. Kiba had heard enough by that point. Listen you, he rasped, grabbing Sasuke by the collar of his bodysuit. Sakura is not useless. Unlike you, she doesn't look down on others despite her excellent grades, and at least she's trying to help. So unless you have any bright ideas, I suggest you shut your trap and help us. Guys, stop it, Sakura cried. Just listen to my idea. Kiba gave Sasuke one last glare before unceremoniously dropping him to the ground. The Uchiha gave a condescending snort at both his teammates before listening to Sakura's plan. Sasuke and I will distract Anko via genjutsu and taijutsu. Sasuke will attack Anko head-on, and while she's busy, I'll cast the most powerful academy genjutsu I know. Kiba, that's where Akamaru's dynamic marking comes in. I'm pretty sure that even crazy people like Anko will hate being peed on. You, on the other hand, could use your Shikaya no Jutsu and increase your speed, allowing you to slip past Anko and get to Kurenai-sensei. So what do you think? Kiba and Sasuke stared at Sakura. The plan was rather risky, but if executed properly, it should be able to work. The Haruno was no Shikamaru, but she wasn't stupid either. It was decided that they used Sakura's strategy. After all, any strategy was better than no strategy. As planned, Sasuke attacked Anko directly. And despite his psychological shortcomings, the Uchiha was actually a decent enough fighter to distract Anko long enough to have Sakura cast the genjutsu on her. Being a Tokubetsu Jonin, Anko was able to dispel the genjutsu rather quickly, but not quick enough to find Akamaru use his dynamic marking. As predicted, Anko was so grossed out that she began to freak. In fact, she was freaking out so badly that she did not even hear the cry of Shikaya no Jutsu. It was during this time that Kiba took the chance to touch Kurenai's sleeve. By the time Anko had calmed down, it was already game, set, match. Congratulations, said Kurenai. Not only did you show an excellent display of teamwork, but you displayed creativity in battle as well. I hereby declare Team 8 an official genin team. Kiba gave a victory whoop, grabbed Sakura and danced with her. Akamaru was yipping with joy, and Sasuke smirked cockily. Anko, on the other hand, did not look too happy. Today was probably the most humiliating day of her life. Peed on by a dog and tricked by a group of genin. If her colleagues ever got wind of what had transpired that day, she would probably never hear the end of it. Ah, this is the life, sighed Kiba as he lay under a tree with Akamaru snuggled next to him. I know what you mean, replied Shuji as he ate his chips beside Kiba. It was a rare day for the rookie 9-Sasuke, as it was the first time they hung out together since they were assigned to their respective teams. It was a balmy August afternoon, and the perfect opportunity for the 8 friends to spend their free time at Konoha Park. People passed by the 8 genin while smaller children ran about in the green grass. Ino and Sakura were arguing about mundane matters, while Shikamaru was observing the clouds as he lay beside Shuji. Shino was bug-watching, and Naruto was animatedly chatting with Hinata, who simply listened as she held Amaru. Anyway, he had the guts to throw a hissy fit right inside the Hokage's office, said Kiba, making various motions with his hands. He was all like, I'm an Uchiha, I deserve a real mission, blah blah blah. I mean, we all deserve a real mission at some point in time, and I know that Akamaru and I really hated the Retrieve Tora mission, but we don't yank about it to the Hokage. It's just bad juju. So anyway, the Hokage gave us our first C-class mission, Kiba continued. We'll be escorting some old fart to surf country or something. It's wave country, moron, corrected Naruto, slapping Kiba at the back of his head. Don't hurt Kiba, yelled Sakura, slapping Naruto at the back of his head. Sakura-chan is right and Naruto-kun, said Hinata disapprovingly. Why you shouldn't hit Kiba-kun like that? Oh, alright, pouted Naruto. Sorry Kiba. Haha. Hinata's got you whipped, teased Kiba, laughing and pointing at his brother. Beside him, Chuji choked while trying to suppress a snicker. At Kiba's comment, said Hyuga blushed. Kiba Sakura put a hand on her hip to signify annoyance. Kiba immediately clammed up. Okay, I'll stop now. Just then, Sasuke passed by the 8 friends. Chuji waved him over. Hey Sasuke, why don't come join us? It's a lot better than being out there all by your lonesome. Sasuke glared at the rotund boy. As if I would ever hang out with losers. Especially a fat one such as yourself. At the Uchiha's words, a deathly silence draped across the 8 other rookies. Sasuke had just committed a grave taboo. And then it came. I am not fat. Throwing down his potato chip bag, Chuji lunged towards Sasuke. It required the combined strength of Kiba, Shikamaru, Naruto, and Shino to keep the furious Akimichi from throttling their former classmate. Ino looked at the Uchiha disbelievingly. Whatever childhood crush she had for Sasuke immediately dissolved at his harsh words. Then old memories came flooding back to her, primping herself to make her the prettiest girl in school, blowing off her friends whenever the Uchiha was near, violently rejecting the food Chuji offered to her because of her diet. She could not believe she had a crush on such a boy during her days at the academy. The other village girls could keep him for all they cared. Sasuke Uchiha, she yelled, grabbing his collar. You take that back. Chuji is not fat. He's big-boned, you hear? Big-boned. Now the other 7 rookies were looking intently at Ino. Ino Yamanaka, who put image as priority 1, was actually defending Chuji Akimichi, who was, well, to put it nicely, well-fed. HN, grunted the Uchiha, as he pried Ino's hands off his shirt and walked away. Kiba glared at the Uchiha's retreating back. Sometimes I don't know what I hate more, that cat Tora, or Sasuke team. Akamaru and Amaru barked, and Kiba smiled at the puppies. Yeah, I guess it'd be Tora the Hellcat, but the Uchiha team is a close second. Well, I for one find the Uchiha highly objectionable. His attitude is exponentially abhorrent, remarked Shino. Will you ever use 2-syllable words in your sentences? Asked Naruto. Just then, the ever-reliable Shikamaru came to the rescue. Naruto, you're so troublesome. Shino said that he hates Sasuke and that his attitude stinks. Personally, I agree. That Uchiha is just... Let me guess, Kiba snorted. Troublesome. Yep, Shikamaru confirmed. Geez Shika, just about everything for you is troublesome, said Ino, rather aggravated. Turning to Chuji, she asked, how are you, big guy? Feeling any better? After seeing Ino defend him, Chuji had significantly calmed down, but he was still angry at the Uchiha. Still too angry to speak, he simply nodded and opened another bag of chips to quell his rage. Looking at Ino, Sakura could not help but smile at her best friend. Catching Sakura's smile, Ino could not help but feel a little concerned. What? She queried. Nothing, sang Sakura. Come on in. Tell me, whined Ino. You know begging doesn't work with me, said the pinkette with a wink. Whatever happened to there are to be no secrets between us? Ino huffed, crossing her arms. I can't believe you broke our pinky promise. Some best friend you are. All right already, sheesh. Stop it with the guilt, said Sakura. It's you and Chuji. So far that I know, you're always nagging him about the way he eats and how he looks. But when Sasuke called him fat, you got mad and yelled at him. What's up with that? I thought Sasuke was your Prince Charming. Forehead, said Ino. There are times when what happens in the academy stays in the academy. With the exception of Shika, Chuji has been my friend longer than anyone I know. Sasuke was nothing more than a childish dream. Chuji and I may not see eye to eye, but even I know better than to call him fat. When Sasuke insulted him, it made me mad. I realize now that looks don't matter much if the attitude stinks. But still, I'd rather be beautiful inside and out. Everyone stared at Ino. Who knew that under the shallow, fangirlish exterior was a true and loyal friend? Gee, good for you, Ino, replied Hinata. Why, you're a good person. I agree with Hinata, said Naruto. You're not that bad, Ino. Believe it. The 8 genin stayed in the park a little while longer. Not long after, Sakura left, stating that she had to get ready for her mission. Noting this, Kiba decided to leave as well, but not without dragging his brother along. Naruto, who was chatting with Hinata, was rather upset, until Kiba bribed him with the promise of him covering for Naruto's ramen bill at Ichiraku's. Naruto and Kiba said their goodbyes and left with Naruto constantly waving at Hinata, who blushed and waved back. However, instead of going home, the Inuzukas directly headed towards the training grounds. "Geez, Kiba, what got your briefs in a twist?" grumbled Naruto. "Just shut up and spar with me," said Kiba, unsheathing the shiroga. Akamaru barked in agreement and took to the front lines. Naruto smirked. "Oh, so you want to tussle, eh? Okay, I'm game," he cried, unsheathing his own kodachi. Amara jumped beside him. "Let's do this. Shikaya no jutsu," yelled both boys in unison. In a few moments, the only thing that could be seen was a flurry of kicks and strikes. The boys were at a speed that could almost be parried with Rock Lee, a student of the eccentric Mado guy. At the last strike, there was the familiar clang of the two kodachi striking each other, signifying the end of that particular round. Huffing and puffing, the two boys and their dogs were at a standoff. Kiba was faster, but his strikes were less accurate. Naruto, on the other hand, had more rhythm, but it was clear that he was struggling to keep up with his brother. As the brothers locked eyes with each other, they knew it was time. Taking a soldier pill out of their pouches, they fed it to their respective dogs and saw them change. Akamaru, as expected, turned red, while Amaru turned into a rich indigo color. Making the necessary hand signs, the Inuzuka brothers yelled, "Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu." Amaru and Akamaru disappeared into two clouds of smoke only to reappear as a perfect clone of Naruto and Kiba, respectively. Letting out a battle screech, the brothers and their clones went right on to round 2. This fight was intense. The two Kibas were completely on the offensive while the two Narutos had to hold their defense. A sweep kick from one Naruto ended Kiba's offensive barrage. Kiba looked up to see Naruto with a smirk plastered on his face. The brown-haired Inuzuka returned the expression. This could only mean one thing. A unified cry of Gutsuga rang throughout the training grounds. The two boys and their clones erupted into whirlwind drills as they ripped through each other. Drill after drill until both boys were rather exhausted. Akamaru and Amara looked a bit rather worse for wear. Kiba tried to give a swing, but he found that he could no longer move his arms. Naruto tried to lunge, but his legs had stiffened from exhaustion. The fight was officially a stalemate. Dropping unceremoniously to the ground, the boys looked at each other for a long time. Then Naruto began to laugh. "What's so funny?" asked Kiba, feeling rather offended. "It's ha-ha or hee-hee fight," wheezed the blonde. "I never thought it would end in a draw." "Yeah, well, that's because I'm just that good," Kiba bragged. Akamaru yipped. "See, even Akamaru thinks so," he quipped. "And what am I?" huffed Naruto. "Cat food?" It was now Kiba's turn to laugh. "Yeah, you were," he chuckled. "Especially at the Torah mission. When you got home, Mom had to hose you down just to get rid of the smell of cat." Naruto glared at his brother. "Well, you're one to talk. After you did that mission, I heard you screaming, 'Mommy, he's got me. Make the demon cat go away, Mommy,' in your sleep. Ha! That was priceless. My only regret is that I never got it on tape." "Touché," Kiba remarked. As soon as they were well rested, the brothers and their dogs left the training grounds and went home laughing and joking along the way. The next 3 days went by as normal. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata went through their D-rank missions as usual, taking out the trash, weeding the gardens, and other chores that made Shikamaru cringe. During one of these chores, the lazy Nara had actually fallen asleep face down while weeding. His green clothes and shrub-shaped hairdo did not help when Naruto mistook his ponytail for a weed. Shikamaru's yelp of pain rivaled that of any of the Inuzukas. The next day, as Team 7 went to the Hokage Tower to receive their daily share of missions, they were surprised to find that they were handed a B-rank mission instead. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Sarutobi pulled out his pipe and took a drag. "Considering the number of D-ranks your team has finished, I believe you are ready to tackle this mission. A messenger hawk from Wave Country arrived yesterday." At the mention of Wave, Naruto looked up, eager for some news about Kiba and Team 8. "A few days ago, I sent Kurenai's team on a simple escort mission to Wave," Sarutobi continued. "However, they were ambushed by the Demon Brothers, and later the Demon of the Mist, Zabuza Momochi." Kakashi stiffened at the name. Zabuza Momochi was not known for his kindness. In fact, even as an academy student, he had already earned himself the name Demon of the Mist by annihilating his entire graduating class. His other epithet, Master of the Silent Kill, was even less reassuring. Listed as an A-rank missing nin in the bingo books, Even a jonin of Kurenai's caliber would have their hard time in keeping toe-to-toe with Zabuza Momochi. Sensing the tension in their sensei, Naruto, Hinata, and Shikamaru could not help but feel concerned for the well-being of their friends. Seeing the genin's worried expressions, the Hokage decided it was time to give the good news. Although Kurenai herself suffered from chakra exhaustion after a one-on-one battle against Zabuza Momochi, the demon brothers have been captured and Kurenai and her team managed to make it to their destination with relatively minor injuries. The tension dispersed a little. That's where Team 7 comes in, the old man went on. You'll be the backup for Team 8 against Momochi and his goons. Do you accept? Kakashi looked at his genin. With the exception of Shikamaru, who seemed annoyed, they looked at their sensei with expectant eyes, although Hinata still seemed a little unsure of herself. He thought about all the weeks of training they had gone through since graduating from the academy. It was decided, Team 7 was ready. I accept, said the Cyclopean Jonin. Turning to his charges, he said, we leave in 2 hours. I expect you to be ready by then. Within the span of 2 hours, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata went home, packed all their necessities, and doubled back to the rendezvous point. One by one, they began arriving at the Konoha entrance gates where Kakashi, who was miraculously on time, was waiting. Hinata arrived first, with a branch house bodyguard who left as soon as the Inuzuka duo, and Shikamaru entered the scene. As soon as everyone was present and accounted for, they stepped past the gates for their very first mission beyond Konoha's walls. Team 7 looked in awe at the world beyond the village walls. Naruto and his friends occasionally went on top on one of the guard towers to look at whatever was beyond the defensive barricade, but they could only see so much. Naruto looked at Hinata and noticed the look of bewilderment on her face. It was just then that he remembered that whenever the gang went to the guard tower excursions, Hinata was never there. She was never ever there. Breathtaking, isn't it, Hinata-chan? He stated, startling her. The Hyuga, embarrassed that she had been taken unawares, blushed at and twiddled her fingers. Why yes, she replied. You know, I don't understand why you don't want to go with us when we go to the guard tower, Naruto remarked contemplatively. It's not that dangerous, and even Ino and Sakura go, so why not you? Hinata felt her spirits soar. Naruto actually noticed when she wasn't around. Score! Raved inner Hinata. The real Hinata, on the other hand, merely replied, Father doesn't like it when I go to the guard T-tower. He thinks something bad might happen to me. Of course. Naruto mentally slapped his forehead. Lord Hayashi is very protective of his daughters. He was even reluctant to let Hinata go to the academy. It took Mom and the other clan heads to convince him to do so, he thought, cringing at the memory. To give Hayashi Hyuga credit, he was not a dictator as most people would assume. He was simply concerned for the safety of his children since Hinata's near abduction by some Kumonin 9 years ago. And Naruto-kun, are you alright? Hinata asked, breaking the blonde out of his thoughts. Naruto laughed sheepishly and rubbed the back of his head. Ahahaha. Of course, Hinata-chan. When have I not been alright? I could think of several occasions, replied Shikamaru, entering the conversation. Naruto scowled. Dang it, Shika. Go stick your shadow in someone else's business, will ya? Make me, challenged the lazy genius, crossing his arms across his chest. In reply, the blonde charged towards Shikamaru only to get close enough to have the young chess master trap him with his shadow, thereby thwarting Naruto's attempts to get close enough and throttle the life out of the Nara heir. Naruto's struggling managed to rouse Amaru, who had been napping on his head, and in retaliation for disturbing his slumber, the puppy took it in his initiative to perform the dynamic marking over the two boys. The end result was Naruto and Shikamaru being drenched in dog pee, and having them run towards the nearest body of water to get cleaned up. After having the delay of Naruto and Shikamaru scrubbing themselves clean of any remaining trace of pee, Team 7 resumed their trek. Are we there yet? Naruto complained. On Blonde's head, Amaru began to whine. Team 7 had been traveling for 8 hours, not counting the boat ride where Shikamaru got seasick. So far, they were technically in wave territory, but were still some distance away from the actual village. Oh god, Naruto, Amaru, shut up, groaned Shikamaru. He was still a little queasy from the boat ride and was in no mood to put up with Naruto or his ninken. Geez, Shika, when did you become such an Uchiha? Naruto shot back. Amaru growled in agreement. Now, Kakashi intervened. This isn't the time or place to fight. You can do that when we reach Nami. Why don't we play a traveling game? Suggested Hinata, not wanting to see her two dearest friends fight. WEC could play I Spy. Great idea, Hinata-chan, grinned Naruto. You always know how to make things better. At the blonde Inuzuka's comment, The all-too-familiar blush painted the Hyuga's features once more, but just as the game was about to begin, Amaru began to growl. The fur on his neck bristled. "The game can wait," Kakashi commanded sternly. "Hinata, activate your Byakugan." Hinata did as she told, and suddenly gasped. "I see several men coming towards us from approximately 100 meters away. By the looks of them, they appear to be bandits." "Okay team, assume cross formation," said Kakashi. "I'll take up the front, Shikamaru and Hinata you take the sides, and Naruto you and Amaru bring up the rear." The battle went smoothly with Team 7 making quick work of the bandit group. Kakashi marched up to the leader and yanked him up by the ropes binding him. "Who are you working for?" he hissed. "No one," gasped the man. "We simply hope to get some money out of you." Kakashi struck him across the face. "Even a greenhorn would know that shinobi never carry a lot of money with them. Now tell me the truth. Who sent you?" Gato sent us," groaned the bandit. "He told us to intercept incoming ninja." "I see," mused the one-eyed Jonin, roughly dropping the man. "Okay team, let's go." Team 7 left, leaving the tied-up bandits for the Hunterine. As they walked further along, Kakashi's eye fell onto Naruto's kodachi. He recognized the weapon immediately, having seen it hundreds of times with his sensei during his Genin Chunin days. Of course, it had been 12 years since it was last seen in public eye, and for it to reappear, and in the hands of an Inuzuka genin at that, was just too good to be true. "Naruto," he called. "Where did you get that kodachi?" "The kodachi?" replied the blonde genin, turning to face his sensei. "Mom gave it to me on the day Kiba and I made genin. She also gave Kiba a similar blade when we graduated from the academy. She said the one Kiba had once belonged to Dad. As for mine, I have no idea who it used to belong to, but it feels really comfortable when I use it, as if it's been with me my whole life." Kakashi merely nodded at Naruto's words, but his mind was whirling. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and that blade, he looks just like sensei and acts like his wife. Could he be? Kiba furiously rubbed at his eyes as he struggled to stay awake. In the confines of his hoodie, Akamaru was curled up, fast asleep. The brunette mentally beat himself up. Why did he choose the night watch again? The Inuzuka's eyelids drooped down once more, only to shoot back upon hearing someone greet out with a yo. Coming up from the footpath were the reinforcements that Kurenai had requested. Seeing that the backup team had arrived, Kiba and Akamaru immediately alerted Tazuna's household and his team. "They're here," he called. Seconds later, the rest of Team 8 and Tazuna and his daughter Tsunami were milling about the front door to receive the new arrivals. Tsunami was the first to welcome Team 7. She quickly ushered them inside, and set to work in cooking a hot meal for the newcomers. While the genin members of Team 7 dug into their meal with gusto, Kakashi had not even touched a morsel. Instead, he looked at Kurenai and Tazuna and simply said, "You've got a lot of explaining to do." Kurenai Yuhi had a reputation for remaining calm under pressure. Even when she had fought against the infamous Zabuza Momochi, she managed to keep her cool. However, the way Kakashi was looking at her right now was even more bone-chilling than worst atrocities of the last Shinobi War. And when Kurenai was nervous, her articulacy tended to revert to gibberish. Seeing the Genjutsu mistress' uneasiness, Kakashi realized that he might have been a bit too hard on her. Sighing, he gently told her to repeat her story in a slower pace. Nodding, Kurenai took a deep, calming breath and described the chain of events at the moment they arrived in Wave. She explained of the sudden ambush by the Demon Brothers and later, Zabuza Momochi, and how they managed to escape in relatively one piece. Flashback. Team 8 had finally arrived in Wave territory. It had been an uneventful trip so far, with Sasuke not speaking to anyone, and Kiba and Sakura leaving him out of their conversations. Kurenai herself had occasionally spoken with Tazuna, the bridge builder, and the rower. Kiba and Sakura were awestruck as they passed by the near-complete bridge that spanned the strait separating Wave from the rest of the mainland. As soon as they hit shore, Akamaru yipped and bounded in and around the many puddles that dotted the landscape. His partner decided to join in the fun as well until Sakura pulled him back and chided him for being too loud. Just then, 2 pairs of clawed chains suddenly launched themselves towards Kurenai, binding her. Sakura gasped in horror, and Sasuke's eyes widened with shock. 2 men dressed in cloaks appeared from the puddles. Their headbands had 4 curved lines etched into them, signifying that they were from Kiri, the Hidden Mist village. Kiba quickly drew the Shiroga and got into position along with Akamaru. Behind Sakura, Tazuna froze, only he knew the reason why they were being attacked. "Kurenai-sensei!" yelled Sakura and Kiba. Akamaru howled in panic. Suddenly the chained-up Kurenai disappeared into a cloud of smoke. Sasuke smirked in recognition. the Kawarimi no Jutsu. Typical of a genjutsu specialist to use such a technique. The opponents would be caught off guard, and the user could use an offensive jutsu to finish them off. Hand us the geezer, demanded the taller of the two Kirinin. Who are you to make such demands? Asked Sakura as she covered the frightened bridge builder. I'm Meizu, said the first man. And I'm Gozu, said the other. Together, we're the demon brothers feared Chunin of the Mist. Careful, warned Kurenai, reappearing on a nearby tree branch. These are C-class missing nin you're dealing with. They're relatively dangerous. A claw launched itself towards Sakura. Kiba launched himself in front of the weapon and managed to block it, but not before being nicked by its tip. Sasuke had engaged into battle with Gozu while Akamaru had Meizu in a bite grip. Genjutsu, Kiri no Sakura, trans, cherry blossom mist, yelled Sakura. A strange pink mist overwhelmed the Kirinin, disorienting them. Kiba, sensing the advantage, tossed Akamaru a soldier pill. The dog let go of the Chunin in his grip and took the pill. Suddenly, there was the all-too-familiar shout of Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu, followed by Shikyayu no Jutsu, and then Jujin Bunshin Rendan. The first Kiba gave Meizu a donkey kick. Nu. The other Kiba drove Gozu into the ground. Zu. The second Kiba landed a sweep kick on Gozu. Ka. The real Kiba gave Meizu a devastating slash with the Shiroga. The battle ended with the demon brothers thrashed within an inch of their lives by Sasuke and Kiba. Kurenai had tied them to a tree for the hunter nins to retrieve, and led Tizuna and teammate to a safe distance away. As they walked on, Sakura noticed Kiba's hand suddenly turn purple and brought this to the attention of their Jonin-sensei. Kurenai pulled a kunai and sliced a cut on the Inuzuka's arm. The poisoned blood dripped out of the wound, and once the venom had been completely leached out, the cut was promptly cleaned and bandaged. What was that all about? Kurenai asked, leveling a scathing glare at the client. You said you needed protection, but you never told me that you needed protection from missing nin. This changes this mission from a C rank to a possible B or even A rank. Tizuna gulped, knowing that he had been found out. All right, here's the truth. Wave has been taken over by Gato of Gato's shipping companies. He's been monopolizing our trade routes for years. The bridge I'm building aims to cut the monopoly and bring free trade back to our country, but it seems that Gato hasn't taken this too well. Apparently, he's hired a bunch of thugs to take me out, so that the bridge will never be complete. Why'd you have to hire us? Asked Kiba. Why not hire ninja from your own hidden village? That's the problem, said the old man. Wave Country's economy has been severely crippled by Gato's monopoly. Even the daimyo has to scrape the bottom of the barrel, and we don't have a ninja academy, so we hired you guys. However, we only had enough money for a C-rank mission, so that's why I had to lie. I see, Kurenai replied, nodding. Team, we're pulling out. Teammate looked at their sensei incredulously. What? Sasuke asked. I said we're pulling out, Kurenai repeated. This mission has already gotten out of hand, and now, Kiba is injured. There are times when retreat is the only option we have. No! Kiba cried as he got up. We can't go back to Konoha without finishing our mission. I'm an Inuzuka and Inuzukas never give up. It'll take a lot more than a little poison to make me pull my tail between my legs. Inuzuka's right, said a calm voice. Everyone turned to see Sasuke speak. Sasuke agreeing with Kiba? That was definitely a sign of the apocalypse. If we just leave our client out here, the mission would be considered a failure. We'd become the laughingstock of the entire village. I, for one, will not tolerate a failed mission in my records, and besides, what kind of ninja would we be if we can't even complete a simple escort mission? How about you, Sakura? Asked the red-eyed Jonin. I agree with Kiba and Sasuke, Sakura replied. If we hurry, we can still make it to Nami and plan our strategies. Well, this is your lucky day, said Kurenai, returning her attention to Tizuna. My charges believe that it would be best to take you to your village first and protect you until we can request Konoha for some backup. Teammate hurried along as they kept a wary eye among their surroundings. Just then, there was a rustle among the bushes. Akamaru jumped in only to flush out a white snow rabbit. Kurenai's eyes narrowed at this. White snow rabbit? During August? Something was amiss. Very amiss. Everyone duck, she commanded. Teammate did as they were told as a Zanbato sailed past over their heads and embedded itself into a nearby tree. Sasuke had yanked down Tizuna just in time before the huge sword could decapitate the old man. Out of nowhere, a masked man appeared and landed on top of the sword. Well, if it isn't Devil Eyes Kurenai, sneered the newcomer. Kurenai glared at the man with venomous eyes. So you're behind this, demon of the mist. Kiba drew the shiroga from its sheath. Sasuke and Sakura covered Tazuna once more. Kurenai, noticing the actions of her team, told them to take the old man and run. Get out of here, she commanded. This man is different from the other two you fought. He's the feared Kirijonin, Zabuza Momochi. But sensei, Sakura protested, we can't leave you behind. Naruto once told me that Kakashi-sensei told him that those who broke the rules were scum, but those who abandoned their teammates were even worse than scum. Sakura's right, said Kiba. You're part of our pack, Kurenai-sensei, and as an Inuzuka clan member, it's in our code of honor to never leave a pack member behind. Kurenai flinched. Damn Kakashi for his tirades on teamwork and the Inuzuka's pack mentality. Reluctantly, she allowed her team to stay. Zabuza smirked. Even if you had those genin brats with you, you wouldn't win. You could have simply handed the geezer over, and I would have let you leave with your lives. Pity, I'd really hate to cut up a pretty face like yours. Don't hold yourself in such high regard, Momochi, Kurenai scoffed. Even if we die, we'll never hand the bridge builder to you. Genjutsu, flower petal escape. Team 8 watched in awe as Kurenai vanished in a flash of flower petals and reappeared behind Zabuza, pressing a kunai onto his neck. Nice move, smirked the Miss Nin. But how do you like this? Zabuza suddenly disintegrated into a puddle of water. Mizu Bunshin, gasped Kurenai. Then where? Over here, replied the real Zabuza, yanking the Zanbato right under Kurenai's feet, throwing her into a nearby pond. Kurenai-sensei, yelled Kiba and Sakura, genuinely concerned for their mentor. Sasuke could not help but watch on in fear and awe as the Mizu Bunshin reformed to hold Kurenai in what seemed like an orb of water. Suiro no Jutsu, chuckled the Kirinin. You like? He turned to the genin. Okay, you brats, hand over the geezer within 5 minutes, or the pretty lady gets it, got it? Don't worry, kids, said Kurenai. I'll be alright. However, as soon as the Genjutsu mistress uttered those words, she gave a gasp of pain as her chakra was slowly siphoned out. He chuckled the demon of the mist. Did I forget to mention that my version of the Suiro no Jutsu has the ability to drain its victim's chakra? What do we do now? Asked Sakura. If we hand over Tazuna, we fail the mission, but if we don't hand him over, we lose Kurenai-sensei. I have an idea, said Sasuke. But you'll have to do everything I say. He gathered the group into a huddle and whispered something. Comprehending, Kiba and Sakura nodded and went to their positions where Kiba took the front lines with Sasuke, while Sakura defended Tazuna. I have a proposition for you, said the Uchiha heir. Eat this, he yelled, hurling a Fuma shuriken towards the Kirinin. Zabuza dodged the spinning projectile. Ha! You missed, he sneered before getting hit by a second Fuma shuriken. What the dash? The first Fuma transformed into Akamaru in clone form, who had simultaneously hurled the second Fuma shuriken and barreled into the Mizu Bunshin, dispelling it and releasing Kurenai. It's over, said Kurenai, making several hand signs. Megan, Jibaku Satsu. Vine suddenly sprang out of nowhere, binding Zabuza to the tree. Kurenai made another bunch of hand signs and made the call, Megan, Yami no Guntai, trans, demonic illusion, army of darkness. An army of grotesque creatures sprang out of the ground, clawing at the Zabuza. As the feared demon of the mist was reduced to a hysterical mass, Kurenai loomed above him, kunai raised, to put the man out of his misery, when several Samban needles suddenly flew out of nowhere and struck Zabuza's neck, ultimately killing him. Kurenai dispelled her genjutsu to look for the needle thrower. Akamaru sniffed the air and finally stopped at a particular direction, baying all the while. Show yourself, called Kurenai. A masked figure in green and yellow robes appeared from the treetops. The Kiri symbol was etched on his mask. Kiba recognized the form immediately. A hunter nin? He gasped. Sorry about that, said the hunter nin. I've been trailing Momochi for weeks. I was told to kill on sight. Leaping off his perch, he hefted Zabuza's corpse over his shoulder, before disappearing into the forest. What was that all about? Asked Sakura. That was a hunter nin, explained Kiba. It's their job to go after missing nin and capture and or kill them if necessary. What bothers me though is why he had to bring the body. I know they usually destroy them on sight. Kiba's right, said Kurenai. Something is definitely ugh. The red-eyed Jonin suddenly collapsed. Kurenai-sensei, yelled the genin. We have to do something, shouted Sakura. Nami isn't that far from here, said Tazuna. We could take her to my house. End flashback. And that's what happened, said Kurenai. Whoa, said Naruto, rather awestruck. You guys took down a Jonin? That's so cool. I wish I could have been there to see that. Don't bother, replied Kakashi. I have a feeling that we'll be seeing our friend Zabuza very soon. What do you mean? Asked Sakura. He's dead. I saw him. The Saban struck his neck and killed him. I think that's what that Hunter Nin wanted us to think, said Sasuke. Think about it. Kiba said that Hunter Nin usually destroyed the corpses on sight. What if the Hunter Nin we saw was in cahoots with Zabuza? So we'll be facing an A-class missing Nin? Asked Hinata, feeling rather scared. What a pain, grumbled Shikamaru. Now I have to put more effort than I normally do. By effort, do you mean any at all? Naruto joked. Don't worry, Hinata-chan. I'll protect you. We'll fight the bad guys and save this village together. Don't bother, came a new voice. Say Wadash? Asked Naruto. A young boy, around 8 or 9, wearing a yellow shirt, green overalls, and a blue-striped bucket hat came into the room. What's the point of fighting if you're going to die anyway? Gato's just going to kill you, just like how he's killed this village's spirit. Who's that kid and what's his deal? Asked Kiba. Tazuna sighed. That's my grandson Inari. He's been like that since his stepfather died. Oh, said Hinata, bowing her head. I'm sorry for your loss. What do you care? Inari shot back, storming out of the room. I'm sorry for his behavior, apologized Tsunami. It's all right, said Hinata, not really wanting to be a bother. Excuse me a moment, said Naruto as he got up and followed Inari's point of exit. As he padded upstairs, he could hear light sobs coming from one of the rooms. Following the sound, he found Inari crying on his bed while clutching the photograph of a man. Daddy, why'd you have to go? As Naruto entered the room, he quietly knocked on the slightly ajar door, alerting Inari of his presence. What do you want? Inari asked rather heatedly, quickly wiping the tears from his eyes. In all truth, I was going to tell you off for snapping at my friend, but I heard you crying, answered the blonde. Naruto's eye landed on the photograph cradled against Inari. So this your dad? That's none of your business, snapped the younger boy. And even if it was, it's not like you could ever understand anyway. That's where you're wrong, Naruto countered ferociously. Kid, you'd better listen and listen good. You're lucky you even had a dad at one point. I have never ever met mine. He died on the day I was born. And even if they're gone, I don't think our dads would want to see their sons moping about in their little emo corner. You're the man of the house now. Drop the crybaby act and take life as your dad would have. I'm sure that'd be the best way to honor his memory. The next day, after breakfast, Teams 7 and 8 gathered into the forest behind Tazuna's house where Kurenai was waiting for them. Kakashi was unavailable today, as he was charged with the duty of guarding Tazuna. Team, she began. Today, we'll be learning how to climb trees. Tree climbing? Kiba burst out. But sensei, we all know how to climb trees. Even Akamaru and Amaru can climb trees. Kurenai chuckled at the Inuzuka's brashness. She went to the base of a huge tree and walked right up to the top. Well, can you do this? She asked. Kiba gave a feral grin. Piece of cake. He scoffed. He ran up to the tree, just to fall down after 3 steps. Ow, he groaned. Kurenai walked over towards the fallen boy. Don't worry. My first time with this exercise was even worse, she said, trying to ease Kiba's bruised pride. Sakura helped him up and scolded him for being such a show-off, while Naruto and Hinata sat back, trying to suppress their snickers, and Shikamaru gave his trademark troublesome. Sasuke simply scoffed at the idea that he would be climbing trees with people from inferior clans, as the Uchiha elders used to call them. Listen, all of you, said Kurenai, gathering all the genin's attention. To be able shinobi, you have to be able to understand your capacities and limits. To put yourself down or underestimate the difficulty of a certain mission could mean certain death. Now I want you to climb the tree up to 3/4 of the way. You can mark your progress with your kunai. Any questions before we begin? Shikamaru raised his hand. I know it's too troublesome, but I'd like to know, how do we climb the tree without using our hands? Kurenai smiled. Good question, Shikamaru. You'll have to concentrate the chakra to your feet when you step on the tree trunk. Also, you have to regulate how much chakra you emit. Too much, and you could sink right into the tree. Too little, and you could fall off. And one more thing before you start. What's that? Asked Hinata. Good luck. The genin began their tree-walking exercises. Sakura and Hinata, being naturals at chakra control, got the exercise immediately. Shikamaru, coming from a clan that specialized in shadow manipulation, which of course meant enhanced chakra control, got it after 5 tries. Sasuke glared at the 3. He was an Uchiha, a supposed natural in the shinobi arts, and he had been bested by a timid Hyuga, a Nara slacker, and that insipid civilian girl. He gritted his teeth and pushed on with his practice. Along with Sasuke, Kiba and Naruto were not doing any better with their chakra control. The Inuzuka brothers were treating the exercise as if it were some crazy competition between them. Sasuke glared as he noticed the progress the Inuzukas were making. They may be class clowns, he noted, but when it came to honing their skills, the brothers actually took it very seriously even if they did treat it like a game. Ha! How'd I like me now, Kibble? Naruto bragged as he cut a notch slightly above Kiba's last mark. The Inuzuka brothers had progressed into climbing a third of the height of the tree, just a bit below Sasuke. Don't count on it, fish cake, scoffed Kiba as he cut another notch a few inches higher. Kurenai, who had seen the earlier progress with Sakura, Shikamaru, and Hinata, had added a new twist to their training regimen. They now had to balance a leaf on their foreheads while climbing the tree without dropping it. The test proved to be a bit harder, as Hinata suddenly dropped the leaf a fourth of the way up the tree. Shikamaru had an even harder time. He could not even take a step without dropping the leaf. Sasuke could feel anger and jealousy seeping into his veins. Failure was not an option, and it would be a cold day in hell before he would let anyone best him, especially the Inuzukas. If he was to defeat him, he'd have to strive to be number 1. Focusing all of his energy and effort, Sasuke took the steps and worked on. He had to be the best. An effeminate boy in green and yellow robes sighed as he plucked out the last of the saban needles from the tall man's neck. His mask lay on the bedside table. And why do I feel like I've been run through by other 7 swordsmen? Groaned Zabuza Momochi as he tried to get up, only to collapse. The boy gave a cheerful smile. Actually, Master Zabuza, that was me. Sorry about the assassination attempt. That was the only way to get you to safety so we can regroup. Well, be careful next time, Zabuza snapped. That time, it felt all too real. When I see you again, Devil Eyes, there will be hell to pay. Just then, the door slammed open and a short, middle-aged man, flanked by a pair of burly men, came waddling into the room. I heard that the great demon of the mist was taken down by a group of children led by a woman, he sneered. How low the mighty have fallen. The boy angrily stood up only to be held back by Zabuza. Haku, stand down, he commanded. Glaring at the short, greasy man, he snarled, What do you want, Gato? Getting rather cheeky, aren't you, Momochi? Said Gato. Then, his voice acquired a deadly tone. I'm not paying you to roughhouse with some snot-nosed brats, so you'd better get this right and kill that old fart yoke. Haku had grabbed the short man by the arm and was now slowly twisting it. Don't tell Master Zabuza how to do his job, because he sure as hell doesn't tell you how to do yours. He let go of the arm and Gato backed away into his thugs. Why, you brat? You'll pay for this, snarled the tycoon, nursing his injured hand. A wave of killing intent suddenly washed over the room. I'll deal with those Konoha scum, so I suggest you'd better leave. Angrily, Gato stepped out of the room. You're crossing the line, Momochi. Another step further, and you might just find yourself sleeping with the fishes. By noon, both Team 7 and Team 8 had finally mastered tree walking, with Sasuke mastering it just before Naruto and Kiba. Because the Inuzuka brothers had the largest chakra capacity among the genin, it was understandable that they would be the last to complete the exercise. Kurenai had called a break and everyone was now eating lunch back in Tazuna's house. Sasuke, being the eager beaver, downed his meal faster than an akimichi after a hunger strike, only to find himself running to the bathroom to empty the contents of his stomach. As Sasuke-kun, maybe you should eat so fast, cautioned Hinata after the Uchiha returned to the table. Said Uchiha simply glared at the Hyuga before finishing the rest of his meal. Kurenai and Tsunami looked rather affronted, and Naruto glared back at the Uchiha for Hinata. Kiba, Sakura, and Shikamaru shook their heads, while Inari sat at his usual spot, looking rather contemplative. After lunch, everyone took a short recess in the living room. Shikamaru took 40 winks, and Kiba and Naruto had an arm wrestling contest, while the dogs had a tug-of-war on a piece of string. Hinata refereed the arm wrestling match, Sasuke brooded, and Sakura was reading an article on Neen Week magazine. Kurenai was in the kitchen, chatting with Tsunami. When the training regimen resumed, everyone had mastered tree walking by then, bringing Sasuke, Kiba, and Naruto into joining the leaf exercise. After mastering the tree walking exercise, it did not take too long for Sasuke to master the leaf exercise. Sakura and Hinata had mastered it as well and were currently observing Shikamaru, Naruto, and Kiba, all of whom were still struggling with it. There had been a rather hilarious scene when the leaf on Kiba's head suddenly caught fire. The Inuzuka ran around like a chicken with his head cut off, while Kurenai, Sakura, and Hinata tried to calm him down and extinguish the flames. Naruto and Shikamaru paused their training to laugh at the scene before them, and even a small chuckle escaped from Sasuke's lips. By the end of the day, only Naruto and Kiba had not mastered the leaf exercise. As the tired genin shuffled back into the house, they found Kakashi and Tazuna already there. Kurenai and the girls went to help Tsunami in the kitchen, whereas the boys and men busied themselves with various activities in the living room. Moments later, dinner was ready, and everyone was gathered around the table, eating. The meal was simple, but delicious: vegetable soup, fish, and yakisoba. Naruto complimented Tsunami on the vegetable soup only to find out that it was Hinata who made it. He then gave his compliments to the Hyuga only to have her blush and twiddle her fingers. Even Kiba, who hated vegetables, enjoyed the soup. "So Kakashi-sensei, how was guard duty?" asked Naruto between mouthfuls. "You know, same old, replied the masked nin. So far, there had been no attempts on the old man's life, but it's best if we still keep our guard up. So, how's your training?" There was an excited chorus of voices as the genin relayed on the day's activities. When they were done, Kakashi was beaming at them. "Excellent work, kids," said the copy nin. "I guess tomorrow, we'll be taking your training up a notch." "What about Kiba and me, sensei?" asked Naruto. "We can't do the advanced training if we're still stuck at the leaf exercise." Kakashi's visible eye crinkled into an upside-down crescent. "Not to worry, just keep practicing and don't give up. Once you get it, I'll help you guys with the advanced training." After dinner, everyone went back to the living room and socialized for a while until Tsunami called for bedtime and lights out. Not wanting to upset their generous host, the Konoha ninja complied. Soon everyone lay dreaming in their futons and sleeping bags, all except one. When he was certain that everyone was asleep, Naruto crept towards Kiba. Kiba was drooling slightly and talking in his sleep. He said random things like, "Monkey cracker pickle." Naruto shook his brother slightly and woke him up. Kiba was a little irritable when he woke up, but when Naruto told him what they were going to do, he brightened up a bit. Picking up their dogs, the Inuzuka brothers quietly snuck out of the house and resumed the leaf exercise. Morning came, and Naruto and Kiba found themselves being woken up by the sound of the dogs barking. "What is it, boys?" yawned Kiba, rubbing the sleep away his eyes. Suddenly, he stopped in his steps and stood there mouth agape. "Hey Kiba, what happened? Cat got your brain?" Naruto joked. Kiba simply turned Naruto's head to the direction he was staring at, and Naruto too fell into Kiba's trance. Before them stood a long-haired girl in a pink kimono with a basket of herbs. "Hello," she smiled at them. "Hamaina, Hamaina, Hamaina." Kiba chanted the words like a mantra. Beside him, Naruto was completely speechless. "What are you two doing in the forest?" asked the girl. Kiba was at a loss for words. Amara gave Naruto a slight nip, snapping him out of his trance. He politely bowed to the girl. "Sorry for the sudden choke. My name's Naruto Inuzuka, and the bonehead beside me is my brother Kiba. We were training in the forest and must have fallen asleep." Naruto's insult broke Kiba out of his daze. "I'm not a bonehead," he growled, giving the blonde one of his power nuggies. The girl giggled at the comical scene, catching his attention. "How about you?" he asked. "What's your name and what are you doing in this here parts?" "My name is Haku," the girl replied. "I usually come here to look for medicinal herbs." "Really?" said Naruto, rather interested. "You know, you have a lot in common with our friends Hinata and Sakura. I'm sure you girls will be friends in no time." "I know I don't look it," laughed Haku. "But I'm actually a boy." Kiba and Naruto's jaw dropped. "You're a boy." The Inuzuka brothers looked at each other. Then they looked at Haku. Then they looked at each other again. He's even prettier than Sakura," Kiba screamed mentally. To give Naruto credit, he managed to compose himself and not freak out like Kiba did. Just then, familiar voices rang out through the forest. "Naruto! Kiba! Where are you? Naruto-kun? Kiba-kun? Akamaru? Amaru? Where are you, Inuzuka? Kiba, Naruto! Stop being troublesome." "Hey! It's our friends!" Naruto beamed. Suddenly, a dull growl erupted from his stomach. Hee hee! He grinned sheepishly. "Hey Haku! Why don't you join us for breakfast? I'm sure our host won't mind." Haku seemed uncertain. "I don't know." "Please!" Kiba wheedled. "But..." Please, begged the Inuzuka brothers in unison, while giving him the puppy dog face, along with their puppy dogs. You won't regret it. And you'll like our friends. They're very nice. Haku gave a defeated sigh. Okay, he grabbed his basket and followed the Inuzukas to rejoin their friends. At breakfast, everyone was staring, or in Sasuke and Inari's case, glaring at the newcomer. Hinata, Shikamaru, and Sakura, on the other hand, were making fast friends for the shared interests of medicine and shogi, respectively. In fact, after breakfast, Shikamaru challenged Haku to a shogi match. Although Haku lost, the match lasted for a good 30 minutes, proving that the feminine boy was at least smart enough to give Shikamaru a bit of a challenge. The grown-ups struck a light conversation with him as well, earning a polite response to each question. After a while, both Kurenai and Tazuna left for downtown and run some errands, and Haku followed suit, having to return home as well, leaving the children at Tazuna's with Kakashi and Tsunami. Is he always like this? Asked Kiba. The 6 Konoha genin were currently waiting for Kakashi in the woods beyond Tazuna's property. With Kurenai in charge of guard detail, it was Hitaki's turn to train them. You have no idea, replied Shikamaru, gazing up at the clouds floating by. It's really troublesome waiting for him. As if on cue, Kakashi finally arrived with the oh-so-familiar orange book, snickering as he walked. Where were you? Yelled Naruto, Kiba, and Sakura. Kakashi simply smiled at the children. Sorry about that. I just about to meet up with you when I suddenly had a case of the runs. Okay, too much information, Sakura yelled, a greenish hue tinting her face. The other genin nodded in agreement, looking equally appalled. Kakashi looked at the teams assembled before him. Okay, he said, snapping his book shut. Before we tackle today's lesson, I'd like to see your progress with the chakra control. Please demonstrate yesterday's leaf exercise. The genin did as they were told, but suddenly there was an angry outburst from Sasuke. How did you do that? He exclaimed. Do what? Asked Naruto. The 2 Inuzuka nindogs cocked their heads confusedly. Don't play dumb with me, snarled the Uchiha. When did you master the leaf exercise? Last time I checked, you couldn't do it without dropping the leaf or setting it on fire. Isn't it obvious what we did when you didn't find us in bed last night? Kiba retorted with a derisive snort. Boys, enough, Kakashi commanded. Naruto, Kiba, you should know how dangerous it is to train by yourselves outside the village. Sasuke smirked at the guilty expressions of the Inuzuka brothers. But it shows that you were dedicated enough to master the leaf exercise on your own initiative. Excellent work, finished the copy-nin, beaming beneath his mask. At this, Sasuke resumed his normal scowl. Of course we'd push through, Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto. It's the Inuzuka nindo to never back down no matter what the odds. So anyway, said Kakashi, resuming his lecture. Since you guys already have a good grasp of chakra control, I felt that today we're going to learn some new jutsus. Yes. Kiba and Naruto high-fived each other, and their dogs gave a happy yip. Hinata and Sakura giggled at their antics, and Shikamaru grumbled under his breath. Sasuke's eyes shimmered with anticipation. Kakashi then handed each of the 6 genin a piece of paper. What's this? Asked Kiba, frowning at the paper in his hand. I thought we were going to learn new jutsus. We are, replied Sakura. If I recall, this is a special type of paper used for determining your chakra affinity. It's very much like the litmus paper scientists use in determining the pH levels of substances. What's chakra affinity? Kiba asked dumbly. Sakura sighed, shaking her head. Kiba, do you listen in class at all? The Inuzuka gave her a sheepish grin and Sakura's sweat dropped. I'll take that as a no. Anyway, chakra affinity is the elemental affinity of your chakra. There are 5 elemental affinities: fire, wind, water, earth, and lightning. Your chakra affinity can affect the jutsus you use or specialize in. For example, the Uchiha clan specialized in fire jutsus because most of them had fire affinity. Although shadow is not listed as an element, many Nara clan members have this special affinity, thus allowing them to use shadow techniques. Naruto and Hinata clapped their hands. Wow, Sakura, you sure are smart, complimented Kiba. Sakura blushed. No, I'm not. I just study, that's all. Ahem. The genin shifted their attention back to Kakashi. As Sakura had already explained the purpose of this exercise, I now want you to channel your chakra into the paper. As the genin did what Kakashi instructed, they were amused and perplexed with their respective results. Naruto and Kiba's paper split in half, Hinata's paper got soggy, and Sakura's crumbled into dust. As expected of a Nara, Shikamaru's chakra card was tainted black. Strangely enough, Sasuke's chakra card not only made crackling noises, a part of it was set on fire as well. Well, what do you know, mused Kakashi. Looks like we got ourselves a couple of wind types, a water type, an earth type, a shadow type, and a fire lightning type. Now let's get started with your training. Kakashi, being a lightning type himself, could only tell Naruto and Kiba what he knew about one of the more basic wind jutsu futon, Daitapa. However, he promised that he would contact some of his other Jonin colleagues to aid them with their kenjutsu, and some more effective wind jutsu. Sasuke, already proficient in the Katon jutsu, did not need further instruction on that field. On the other hand, he was eager, as much as his Uchiha pride could allow, to learn some Right-Un jutsu, Right-Un, Raidama, Trans, Lightning Style, Lightning Bullet, and Right-Un, Reizenka, similar to the Hozenka, except it utilized lightning. When Sasuke had asked Kakashi if he knew any more jutsus, the Jonin simply replied, "It's too dangerous. Maybe next time," thus infuriating the Uchiha. Being a veteran of the Third Great Shinobi War, Kakashi had learned enough water and earth jutsus and coached Hinata and Sakura on various techniques, including the Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu, Suetun, Teppadama, and Suiro no Jutsu for Hinata, and Dotun, Shinjuzanshu no Jutsu, and Dotun, Dohari, Trans, Earth Style, Earth Spike for Sakura. Unfortunately, Kakashi had no knowledge of any shadow jutsus, as it was a Nara clan secret. He simply told Shikamaru to work on what he already had, and learn new techniques from his other family members. But being a natural genius like Shikamaru, Kakashi engaged the Nara heir in several strategic games, honing his abilities as a tactician. The genin spent half the day mastering the jutsus Kakashi taught them. Later, the masked nin told them to spar with each other. Sasuke had called dibs on Naruto. Hinata squared off against Sakura, leaving Kiba to go against Shikamaru. Because of limited space, the mock fight was going to be in the tournament, round-robin style. Hinata and Sakura were up first. The Hyuga activated her Byakugan and took to her Juken stance. Sakura winced, realizing that Genjutsu would be fairly useless. And compared to Sakura's academy-style taijutsu, Hinata was closer to a pro. Hinata charged, sending a flurry of strikes towards the other girl. Sakura tried to evade as much as she could, but by the time it was over, at least 12 of her tenketsus had been shut. Without Genjutsu and taijutsu to fall back on, Sakura had to solely rely on ninjutsu. Despite being fairly disabled after the last Juken strike, Sakura managed through the hand signs that Kakashi had taught her earlier. Pulling off a Dohari, Sakura managed to take out Hinata, only to discover that it was a Mizu Bunshin to her dismay. It was then that Hinata took the opportunity to attack from above. Acting quickly, the Pinkette used a Kawarimi and evaded in time. Channeling her chakra to her feet, Sakura dashed forward, feinting for Hinata, and used another Kawarimi just as Hyuga was about to pull another Juken strike. Reappearing behind Hinata, Sakura cried out, "Dotun, Shinjuzanshu no Jutsu." Trapped, Hinata had no choice but to concede. As Sakura helped Hinata climb out of the hole, the next match began. It was now Kiba versus Shikamaru. The Inuzuka went into his Shikyayu stance and popped a pill towards Akamaru before activating the Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu. At first, Kiba had the advantage attacking viciously, not even giving Shikamaru enough leeway to think. But just as all seemed lost for the Nara, Shikamaru managed to create a Kage Bunshin with a quick hand sign. Then the two Shikamaras simultaneously detonated a smoke bomb and an explosive tag, disorienting Kiba and the beast clone. When the smoke cleared, the two Shikamaras had captured one of the Kibas with a cage main. Upon seeing the state of the first Kiba, the second Kiba rushed for a straightforward attack. Unfortunately, that was exactly what Shikamaru wanted. As soon as the second Kiba came into range, one of the Shikamaras redirected his shadow and captured him too. "Cool move, Shika," complimented Naruto. "I've never seen it before." "Yes, Shikamaru," remarked Kakashi. "I don't think I've ever seen the other Naras use that technique. Did you make it up on the spot?" Said Nara simply gave a bored look and nodded his head. "I call it the Cage Main Rendan Trans Shadow Bind combo. A little troublesome, but very useful." Sasuke looked at Shikamaru with jealousy. It was not fair that his Sharingan had not activated yet, otherwise he would have simply copied the technique. After all, even clan techniques, no matter how secret, were no match for the Sharingan as long as it had hand seals. Even taijutsu moves were not safe when pitted against the Sharingan. But for now, the Cage Main Rendan was safe. It was Sasuke and Naruto's turn at last. The top two rookies from the Konoha Ninja Academy were finally going to break the tie. For a brief moment, Kiba struggled with his conscience and moral decency. But the human nature of greed eventually won over, and he began to call for bets. Shikamaru wagered a Yanakikyu coupon, and Sakura threw in a Yum Yum bar. Kiba decided to raise the stakes with 50 ryo, and was rewarded by Kakashi, of all people, joining in for 100 ryo. Her heart already set on Naruto to win. Hinata was the only one who did not enter the gamble. As they prepared to fight, Naruto gave Amaru the required pill and slipped into Shikyayu mode. But instead of charging head-on, as was the normal Inuzuka style, he simply stood there, waiting, eyes trained on the Uchiha. Naruto's prudent move proved to be a shocker for everyone, Sasuke included. Seeing this, Sasuke took it as his chance to attack and threw the first strike, only to have the Inuzuka dodge it. Undaunted, the Uchiha lashed out a haymaker, to which Naruto blocked and countered. Amaru came in for a tackle roll, but Sasuke evaded it. Heh, he scoffed. Even if you have that mangy mutt with you, I'll still be able to beat you. Well then, said Naruto. If you can talk the talk, let's see you walk the walk. Tsuga. The Inuzuka transformed into a drilling tornado that charged towards Sasuke. The Uchiha responded by using the Hozenka. Naruto managed to evade most of them until he dropped the ball near the end of the attack. One of the fiery attacks managed to catch him, stunning him momentarily. Sasuke seized his chance, unleashing every taijutsu combination in the book, as well as a few from his clan style. Unfortunately for Sasuke, Naruto was no stranger to taijutsu. As the Uchiha threw another sidewinder, his leg was intercepted by Naruto's arm. He was then hit in the stomach and sent flying. It was then that he realized that, like Hinata, the best option against Naruto would be ninjutsu. Naruto momentarily found himself besieged by fire and lightning jutsus. Without any elemental jutsu to back him up, he settled for dodging them, his mind working up a rough plan. It was a long shot, but Inuzukas were risk-takers by nature, and it was a chance he had to take. So this is the power of the Uchiha clan, eh? He taunted. In response to the jibe, Sasuke made a noise that sounded a lot like the usual Inuzuka growl. Fueled by his temper, the speed and power of his attacks increased. Naruto smirked. His plan was going in perfect motion. With each miss that Sasuke made, Kakashi noticed that the Uchiha was getting frustrated, and as the frustration increased, the sloppier Sasuke's moves became. What a fox, murmured the Jonin. Sakura looked at Team 7's leader. What do you mean, Kakashi-sensei? Shikamaru answered for Kakashi. Sasuke is getting frustrated, right? Sakura nodded. And you can see him throw more and more of his more powerful jutsus, right? Sakura nodded again. As long as Naruto stays on the defense, he doesn't have to use up his chakra. But while he stays on the defense, he's also set up a few traps for Sasuke. Kiba looked confused. What traps? Naruto didn't have enough time to put any traps. Look! Hinata's voice broke the conversation. On the battleground, Sasuke had collapsed onto one knee, whereas Naruto and Amaru remained daisy-fresh. That's what I was talking about, said Kakashi. Naruto had outsmarted Sasuke into using up his chakra. Without his chakra, Sasuke is unable to continue the battle, thus proving that defense can be the best offense. Kiba, Sakura, and Shikamaru gaped at the blonde Inuzuka. Because of his usually knucklehead demeanor, it was rather easy to forget that Naruto was actually smart enough to give Konoha's best prodigies a run for their money. Naruto walked up to Sasuke and stretched out his hand. That was a good match, Uchiha-san, he replied, using all the respect that he could muster. No hard feelings? The Uchiha stared at the outstretched hand with barely hidden disgust before slapping it away and stalked off to Tazuna's house. Sore loser, Kiba muttered under his breath. Akamaru and Amaru growled at the retreating Uchiha's back. I win, Shikamaru said in an almost enthusiastic manner. That means I keep my Yanakikyu coupon, and receive a Yum Yum bar and 150 ryo as well. Fork it over. Grumbling, Sakura handed the candy over, whereas Kakashi gave a nonchalant shrug and handed a pair of crisp 50 ryo bills to the Nara. Hey, I bet on Naruto too, growled Kiba, not wanting to part with his money. Troublesome look, the coupon is a 2-for-1, and we can split the candy and the money 50-50, but can't we wait until we get to the house? Kiba sighed. Fine. As everyone shuffled back towards Tazuna's, only Hinata and Naruto were left in the training ground. See, congratulations, and Naruto-kun. I knew you could do it, she murmured, twiddling her fingers. Thanks, Hinata-chan. You did well too, Naruto said brightly. Hinata looked downcast. But I lost. I feel like such a failure. Naruto frowned. Don't say that. You're not a failure. Even though you lost to Sakura, you still won. You won new skills and you won my respect for you as a great kunoichi. Hinata blushed at Naruto's words. She tried to say something, but couldn't. The next thing she knew, she had already passed out. Fortunately, before the Hyuga hit the ground, Naruto caught her. Looking at the unconscious Hinata, Naruto felt his cheeks heat up. She appeared so shy, but she could actually hold out on her own. Carrying her bridal style, he called Amaru and headed off to Tazuna's house as well. It had been 3 days since their stay at Wave, and the jutsu training went well. Aside from chakra control, Sakura, Sasuke, and Hinata were learning genjutsu from Kurenai as well. Bodyguard duty for Kakashi and Kurenai was also rather mild, as they had not seen an eye or ear of any of Gado's agents. As everyone got ready for the day, Kiba broke the never-ending cycle of training and watching Tazuna. "This stinks," he exclaimed. "We've been here for almost a week and so far, there's been no action. I just want to get out there and kick some butt." Kiba Kurenai warned, but Kakashi held up his hand. "Okay, Kiba, because you've done so well with your training, I'll take you with me on today's bodyguard duty." Kiba's face brightened. "Really? Thanks, Kakashi-sensei." Turning to Naruto, Kiba stuck out his tongue. Nye, I'm going to see a bit of action and you're not." "Kiba, behave or I'm not taking you with me," scolded Kakashi. The Inuzuka hung his head. "Sorry." Sasuke raised his hand. "Sensei," he gritted out with forced respect. "Could I also go with you? I'm getting tired of sitting around and doing nothing." "Well now? It's going to be one heck of a party, isn't it?" joked the one-eyed Jonin. "Who else wants to go? Speak now or forever hold your peace." Sakura raised her hand as well. "Cabin fever," she explained. Kakashi looked at the teammate. "Since the 3 of you are going, I guess this means that Kurenai and I will be switching teams. Okay guys, let's head out before Tazuna dies of old age." Tazuna glared at Kakashi. "I'm not that old," he protested. "Yes you are," Kiba contradicted. "You're proof enough that dinosaurs actually existed." A tic formed on the old man's brow. "Why you?" "Hey, I'm just saying," the brunette shot back. Tazuna frowned as he put on his hard hat. "Brat, if you weren't protecting me and my family right now, I'd kick you out of my house." "I'm not a brat," Kiba protested. Sakura shook her head as she nudged the Inuzuka towards the door. "With that attitude, you sure are. Come on, let's go." Pretty soon, everyone left, leaving Kurenai and Team 7 at the house with Tsunami and Inari. It was rather boring, so they settled to watching reruns of Ninkame on the TV. Shikamaru eventually fell asleep, leaving Hinata, Naruto, Kurenai, and Inari to finish the show. Halfway through the show, a scream rang out in the kitchen, alerting Inari and the Konoha ninja. They ran into the kitchen to find Tsunami being dragged out by a pair of thuggish men. "MOM!" cried Inari, rushing towards the door, only to be held back by Shikamaru. "This is bad," muttered Kurenai. "If these goons are here for Tsunami, that means, dear God. Hinata, come with me." "Why?" asked the Hyuga. "No time for questions," replied Kurenai. "Let's go. Naruto, Shikamaru, it is imperative that you save Tsunami. Am I clear?" The 2 kunoichi dashed off to warn Kakashi while Naruto, Shikamaru, and Amaru raced towards the thugs. "What's with the brats?" scoffed one of the thugs. "Konoha must be getting a bit high and mighty if they're now sending little kids for a man's job." Naruto bristled at the insult. Just as he was about to lunge towards the thugs, Shikamaru held him back. "What the hell, Shika?" Naruto all but yelled. "Keep your voice down, Naruto. I have a plan," whispered the Nara. Facing the thugs, he replied. "Okay, you got us. It's obvious that kids like us got nothing against guys like you." He turned to leave. Naruto gave Shikamaru a look that screamed "what the heck," and Amaru growled to express his displeasure at the Nara. Suddenly, Shikamaru turned back around, his hands in the rat seal. "Kagemain no jutsu!" he cried. The thug's shadows were now in his control, their owners immobilized. Shikamaru smirked. "Checkmate." "All right, Shika," Naruto cheered. "Now it's my turn." Tossing a pill to Amaru and making the necessary hand seals, he shouted, "Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu." A puff of smoke appeared and was replaced by a second Naruto. "Jujin Bunshin Rendan," yelled Naruto, unsheathing his sword. "I," yelled the original, giving the first thug a nasty swipe with the Kodachi. "Nu," screamed the clone, giving the second thug a devastating uppercut. "Zu," shouted the clone, giving a spin kick to the back of the second thug's head. "Ka!" The 2 Narutos reeled in from 2 different directions for the final strike, the original dealing a blinding slash, and the clone with a roundhouse kick. Within the 4 moves, the 2 thugs were out cold and bound up tighter than a Christmas turkey. "Phew, glad that's over," said Shikamaru as he helped Naruto check on Tsunami. Excuse me." The 2 genin turned around to find Inari staring at them with teary eyes. "I want to thank you guys for saving my mom, and I want to apologize for my attitude towards you over the last few days. I want to be strong, I want to be just like you, I don't want to be a crybaby anymore." Naruto gave the boy a brotherly rub on the head. "Kid," he replied, "it's okay to cry. It simply means you're human. As for being strong, well, all you have to do is to stand up for what you believe in and push through. Do you understand?" Inari nodded and ran to his mother's arms. Shikamaru looked at Naruto and tilted his head towards the bridge. Naruto understood immediately. "I'm sorry, but we have to go. Tsunami-san, Inari, please stay here until we return. Your father and our teammates are in grave danger." Kiba frowned. He was expecting to have an action-filled day at the bridge, but instead, he found his teammates and himself helping Kakashi and Tazuna lift beams and crossbars. Sasuke and Sakura were none too happy either. "Where's the rest of the work crew?" Sakura inquired, looking around. Tazuna took a swig of his sake. "They left. Gato's thugs have been harassing everyone until all my men left one by one. I'm the only one left." Cowards." Sasuke scoffed, only to be elbowed by Kakashi. Sakura brought a hand to her mouth. "I'm sorry." Tazuna shrugged. Don't sweat it. The bridge is practically done anyway." Suddenly Akamaru started growling. "What's that, boy?" asked Kiba. "You smell trouble?" The Inuzuka sniffed the air. "Yeah, I sense it too. Smells kinda familiar." Suddenly, Kurenai and Hinata came running into the horizon. "Kakashi! Children! Tazuna-san! Glad you're still in one piece." Kakashi was stumped. "Hinata? Kurenai-san? What's going on?" "You're in danger," huffed Kurenai. "A pair of thugs attacked the house." Tazuna's eyes widened at this. "Don't worry, I had Naruto and Shikamaru take care of it," she amended. The old man breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't know what he would do should something happen to his daughter and grandson. It was a good thing that he did hire the Konohinin. Mist suddenly began to fill the area. Kurenai stood by Kakashi in battle position. Hinata activated her Byakugan. Sasuke, Sakura, and Kiba ran to guard Tazuna. "Zabuza," Kakashi hissed. "Kiba, look out!" Hinata tackled the Inuzuka. Kiba looked at the Hyuga and at the ground where he was standing moments ago. Senbon needles were embedded into the concrete. "Hello?" A hunter nin in green and yellow robes suddenly appeared and approached the bridge builder. "I'm sorry that your mission has to end in failure, but it is our duty to kill the old man." "Over our dead bodies, you poser!" growled Kiba, unsheathing the shiroga. "Seems like the verdict has been decided," chuckled the hunter nin, readying another set of senbon. A shuriken suddenly whizzed by his head. The hunter nin dodged just in time. "All right, the cavalry has arrived," yelled a rather obnoxious yet endearing voice. "Arf! Stop being troublesome and wait for me," wheezed a bored-sounding voice. "Shikamaru! Naruto! Amaru! You're here!" shouted Sakura, sounding relieved. "TCH. The loser brigade," sneered Sasuke, inwardly calculating for the perfect opportunity to prove his worth against his fellow top-notcha. "Finally, the party's here," cheered Kiba. He smirked at the hunter nin. "You're gonna get it now." "Naruto-kun, Shikamaru-kun, Amaru-chan," smiled Hinata. "TCH. More of those genin brats?" scoffed Zabuza. "No matter. My apprentice will take care of them immediately." Kakashi rushed to protect his charges, only to have his path blocked by a Mizu Bunshin. "Ah, what's the rush, Sharingan Kakashi?" sneered the Kirinin. "Isn't it a shinobi rule to always pay attention to your opponents?" "Your beef is with me," shouted Kurenai. "Megan, Iron Maiden!" Zabuza found himself facing a strange-looking box. All of a sudden, its lid flew open, revealing a spike-filled interior. Chains shot out from the box and wrapped themselves around the swordsman, reeling him in. As quickly as it was opened, the lid closed, giving the man a rather gory end. However, Zabuza was not an A-rank shinobi for nothing. Forming the hand seals, he shouted, "Kai!" The illusion vanished. Although a bit haggard from the harrowing experience, he still managed to smirk at the red-eyed jonin. "Nice try, but it's gonna take a lot more than that to defeat the demon of the mist," he shouted, charging at Kurenai. The hunter nin was surrounded. He had to defeat the 4 genin surrounding him, and he would still have to fight off the 2 remaining genin who were guarding the old man. In addition, 2 of the genin had nin dogs. However, he was not afraid. Oh no, he had several tricks up his sleeve. Making the hand signs, the hunter nin shouted, "Makio Hyosho!" Giant mirrors of ice suddenly surrounded the 4 genin, blocking them off from their teammates and team leaders. The hunter nin smirked behind his mask. The tables had been turned. A small boy armed with a crossbow ran throughout the town. Upon reaching a ramshackle cottage, he began pounding at the door. Genji-san, are you there?" he cried in an urgent tone. A gruff tone came from the other side. "Inari? What do you want?" "Genji-san, Gato's men are making their move. They attacked Mom and are going to attack Grandpa at the bridge." "Go away, Inari," Genji grunted. "If we rise up against them, it's only going to make things worse." "But Genji-san," Inari protested. "Beat it, kid!" Dejected, Inari ran from the house, yelling over his shoulder, "If you won't help me, fine, but I'm not letting Nami down. Not now, not ever." As Genji watched the boy disappear down the road, he could not help but feel ashamed. The current state of Nami would have Kaiser rolling in his grave. Sighing, he grabbed his pickaxe and went after Inari. Naruto gulped at the sheer walls of ice mirrors. Amara whimpered a little. Nearby, Hinata, Shikamaru, and Sasuke were equally awestruck. "Hayatan Jutsu?" Hinata gasped. "But I thought only ninja from Snow Country could." "Enough talk," snapped the hunter nin. "You're going to die now." He suddenly vanished and reappeared in the mirrors, replicating himself. "This is such a drag," muttered Shikamaru. "I can't tell which is which." A Saban flew out from one of the mirrors, striking the unfortunate Sasuke. The Uchiha was none too pleased and retaliated. "Katan, Gokyaku no Jutsu!" A giant fireball burst out from the Uchiha's lips and struck the mirrors in front of him. Sasuke smirked, but as the fire died down, so did the smirk. The mirrors were completely intact. "This special ice is resilient to heat," the hunter nin stated plainly. "Even the most powerful fire jutsu would have no effect." Frustrated, Sasuke growled and struck out at a mirror, hoping to dispel it. However, before his fist could connect, the hunter nin in the mirror shot out and flung him into Naruto and Shikamaru, knocking down all 3 boys like bowling pins. Byakugan activated, Hinata began to search, tracing after the chakra of the young hunter nin, but to no avail. The chakra seemed to be infused into the mirrors simultaneously. Familiar with the Byakugan's abilities, the hunter nin wasted no time in neutralizing the threat. Needles flew out from all directions towards the Hyuga. She managed to block most, however, because of a blind spot, the Byakugan's ultimate flaw. A few needles managed to break through her defense, and shut off some of her Tenketsu points, diminishing her Byakugan's field of vision. As Hinata's Byakugan efficiency decreased, so did her defense, increasing her vulnerability. "Hinata!" Both Naruto and Shikamaru rushed to aid their teammate, but more needles shot out of the mirrors, this time towards them. Naruto managed to evade the attack, but Shikamaru was hit. Growling, Naruto tossed a pill to Amaru and performed the Jujin Bunshin. Unsheathing the Kodachi, he shouted, "Shikyayu no Jutsu!" and jumped into the fray. It was 2 against 1 as Kakashi and Kurenai were facing off against Zabuza. With his infamous Sudanan Kenjutsu combinations, the former Kiri Jonin was definitely a force to be reckoned with. To counter such a move, Kakashi and Kurenai were working in unison, via the Kopinin Sharingan and the Genjutsu Mistress' more powerful illusions. The flow of the fight was almost formulaic. A slash of the mighty blade was parried to kunai, and supplemented by a layer of genjutsu. Any jutsus unleashed were reflected and neutralized by Kakashi. The whole fight was a clear stalemate until Zabuza switched tactics and leapt for Kurenai. As the Kabikri Hocho veered towards her, it was blocked off by a chakra-reinforced kunai. "Attacking women now, Momochi?" Kakashi growled, his grip on the kunai tightening. "To what depths have you sunk to?" "The kind of depth that puts bread on the table," the Kirinin retorted. "It's not any different from your job. Someone hires us, we do it, and get paid. When you come right down to it, you and I aren't that different. We're just weapons of destruction." "How dare you say that?" yelled Kurenai, hurling several shuriken towards Zabuza. "Unlike you, we fight to protect, not destroy." A sudden flare of chakra and a rumbling sound caught both Kakashi and Kurenai's attention. Giant ice mirrors were appearing out of thin air, forming a dome. "What is?" asked Kakashi. "That?" Zabuza finished, chuckling ominously. "That's just my apprentice's Kekkei Genkai. Those brats he's fighting are as good as dead now. Kiba, who was guarding Tazuna with Sakura, bristled at the comment. As he moved forward to lunge at the Kirin, Kurenai stepped in, motioning to back down. He hated it, that feeling of uselessness that came when everyone was fighting for their lives, and he could not do a thing to help. Akamaru, sensing his partner's insecurities, whined piteously. Eyeing the shiroga in Kiba's hand, Zabuza smirked beneath his bandaged mask. The shiroga, eh? That's a pretty nifty piece you got there. The legendary Kodachi of Konoha's Steel Wolf, named after his sensei, the White Fang. After I kill you all, Kabikri Haucho'll be getting a new housemate. In your dreams, Kiba shot back. That'd be a great dream indeed, grinned the Kirin. Of course, that same dream would be your nightmare. He shouted, sending a Mizu Bunshin towards Kiba and Akamaru, Sakura, and Tazuna. Thinking fast, Kiba tossed a soldier pill to his canine partner and formed the Jujin Bunshin. With Akamaru guarding the bridge builder, Kiba was free to attack. Tsuga! The drilling attack dove straight for the Mizu Bunshin, but was parried by the replica Kubikri. As the Tsuga lost its momentum, Kiba was sent flying by a sweep of the sword. Growling, he jumped for another attack, but his reflexes could not match that of the water clone. The heavy blade was now swinging towards him, death imminent as it veered closer. Doton Dohari! Rescue came in the form of Sakura as she rushed in and stomped on the ground hard. As she did so, the section of the bridge where the Mizu Bunshin was standing suddenly spiked upwards. The abrupt movement sent the clone airborne. With the Bunshin open to attack, the odds were now in Kiba's favor. As Sakura regained her spot in defending Tazuna, Akamaru stepped up to the plate. Gutsuga! This time with the attack coming from both directions, the Mizu Bunshin finally dispelled into a burst of water. Back inside the dome, Sasuke, Shikamaru, Naruto and Amaru, and Hinata were still battling it out against the Hunter Nin. Senbon rained down at the Konoha Nin, painfully digging into their bodies, cutting off chakra points, and drawing blood. On a positive note, Sasuke and his newly awoken Sharingan, with some help from Hinata, had finally figured out the modus of the Makio Hyosho. It was nothing more than a trick of light. The mirrors reflected and refracted the Hunter Nin's image and movements back and forth at what seemed to be light speed. In collaboration with Sasuke and his taijutsu, Naruto put the Inuzuka speed and Jujin and Kage Bunshins to good use by distracting the enemy and destroying the ice mirrors. At this point, the battle was finally heating up. However, they were slowing down, the enemy ninja included. Although they had managed to land a few hits onto the Hunter Nin, he had kept them on their toes by bombarding them with Senbon for the entire duration of the battle. Among the four genin, Hinata had it the worst, having been stabbed with the most needles. She finally succumbed, collapsing onto the hard concrete. Hinata! Naruto cried, running towards the fallen Hyuga. And Naruto Keikun, she whispered. I tried. I know, Hinata, I know, Naruto replied, trying to keep her within consciousness. I'm sorry I failed, I tried so hard and I still failed. Hinata's vision began to blur. She was beginning to fade out. Hinata-chan, don't faint! Naruto shouted, shaking her. Her eyes closed. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, at least I tried until the very end. After that, she went still. Hinata-chan? Hinata? Hinata-heim! Naruto tried to revive the Hyuga but to no avail. Hinata Hyuga was dead. Like a flood, red chakra suddenly enveloped the blonde Inuzuka. His eyes were squeezed in pain as the raw energy shot through his body. When he opened them again, they were no longer the familiar azure orbs. Instead, they were almost as scarlet as Sasuke's Sharingan, and had slits for pupils. The air choked with killer intent, unnerving everyone, including Zabuza. Oh no, gasped Kurenai. Kakashi's eyes widened as memories of the Kyuubi attack invaded his subconscious. It can't be. With newfound speed, Naruto charged towards the Hunter Nin and drove his fist right into the enemy's face. The mask that was covering his face cracked in half to reveal. Haku! Shouted Kiba in disbelief. But how, why? If you were the Hunter Nin this whole time, why didn't we sense it before? I'm just a tool for Zabuza-san, the effeminate boy replied. A weapon, if you will. I was told to infiltrate the Konoha group, and that I did. If you did not recognize me earlier, that was because I disguised my scent and chakra signature. But why did you have to kill Hinata-heim? Naruto half growled, half wept as he unleashed his fury onto Haku. Why? I said it before and I'll say it again, I am just a tool. No, you're not, growled the blonde Inuzuka, pulling the Kodachi into position. You were our friend, and you killed Hinata-heim. You're a traitor and a murderer just like your boss. Amaru! Let's finish this. Gutsuga! As Amaro and Bunshin form came within Naruto's radius, the red chakra enveloped him as well, and he became even more animalistic than before. What is that, Kiba? Asked Sakura, gaping at Naruto's enraged form. Is that one of your family jutsu? I don't think so, the Inuzuka heir replied. I haven't never seen anyone in the family unleash red chakra before. Besides, it doesn't even smell like a dog. It reeks of fox. Wow, I'm impressed. Sharingan Kakashi and Devil Eyes Kurenai, Zabuza chuckled as he regained his composure. I never thought that your brats could stand up to Haku. There are many things that you don't know about our students, Momochi, retorted Kakashi. In fact, there is something even I don't know about Naruto. Who are you really, Naruto Inuzuka? Naruto's fist hit another ice mirror with brutal intensity. The fight had been going on for half an hour now, and fueled by his rage and grief, Naruto showed no sign of slowing down. After the red chakra took over, the blonde's movements seemed to have become more vicious, more savage. Very much like a demon in action. Even Amaro was not spared from the influence of the red chakra. As it enveloped around him, the once adorable puppy was transformed into a feral, bloodthirsty cur. Just as Haku was about to escape into the adjacent mirror, he was caught by a swift, chakra-influenced punch from Naruto, rendering him defenseless. It was here that Amaro took it as his chance to attack. He tackled and bit the effeminate boy, effectively holding him in place. Held down by the fox-like hound, Haku, for the first time in years, felt fear as the blonde Inuzuka lunged at him, intending to run him through with his kodachi. He wouldn't keep gasped. Sakura pulled her hands over her eyes. I can't watch. Horrified at the savagery of one so young, Tazuna simply stood there, mouth agape. Shikamaru inwardly shuddered. As much as he liked Haku, there was not a thing he could do. The boy was the enemy, a threat to their mission. Henceforth, no matter how much he mulled over the various options, Haku's death was still imminent. Sasuke smirked as he saw Naruto charge towards Haku. The raw power. He needed it with that much power, no one could oppose him, much less the traitor who destroyed his clan. Meanwhile with the Jonin, Kurenai used her genjutsu to trap Zabuza once more, but not without cost. The ninjutsu and genjutsu battles were eating away their chakra, and if they were not careful, chakra exhaustion would rear its ugly head and claim another victim. Kai! Yelled the Kirinin. How many times do I have to tell you, Devil Eyes? Your little magic tricks don't stand a chance. Suddenly, Zabuza dropped to one knee. Ugh! Your life ends here, Momochi! Kakashi began making the hand signs to charge his signature move, as a strange chirping noise filled the air. Chidori! As the attack came down, Zabuza, in his last attempt to save his skin, used the Kabukri Hocho to block the attack. The lightning coursed through the blade, shattering it, the pieces flying in all directions, some of them hitting the Konoha Jonin. By further injuring Kakashi and Kurenai with what used to be the Kabukri Hocho, Zabuza Momochi had sacrificed his trump card. However, Zabuza's moment of glory was short-lived. The blonde, sword-wielding genin was lunging towards his apprentice with the intention of running him through. Summoning his last ounce of strength, Zabuza charged towards Haku, wrenching him away from the giant dog, only to be stabbed in the shoulder by Naruto's kodachi. Why did you save him? Naruto growled. What is this traitor to you? Propping up the injured boy, Zabuza replied, This traitor, as you kindly put it, is not only my apprentice or a tool. He is also one of my precious people. He is a testament to the horrific bloodline purge of Kiri. It is people like him that give me the will to find a way to change our village for the better. Haku weakly looked at his master. A precious person? When was the last time he was someone's precious person? When was the last time he was of worth to someone? He could not remember as far as he knew, not since his parents died. Just then, a clapping sound came from in the depths of the mist. Getting sentimental with the enemy now, aren't we, Momochi? Called a mocking voice. Zabuza gave a low growl. Gato, how long have you been there? The corrupt tycoon materialized from the mist accompanied by 100 rough-looking men. He gave the Kirinin a condescending look. Long enough to see you suffer defeat at the hands of women and children. Pity you and your brat didn't get killed. Had you died, it'd be one less pawn to pay. Zabuza felt white-hot rage consume his being. He was being double-crossed. Gato had no intention of paying him at all. Everything that he had done for the man had been a waste of time and effort. You! Zabuza turned to see Naruto giving Gato a look that promised murder. You're the tyrant who's been terrorizing an innocent village and impoverishing an entire country, the possessed boy growled, taking a step towards the sleazy businessman. You're the crook who would dare attack helpless women and children. You're the monster who killed Hinata Haim. You'll die now! With an anguished howl, the blonde Inuzuka and his hound charged towards Gato. Men! Shouted Gato, hiding behind his men. Protect me! Kill the old man! Kill the children! Kill them all! While the mercenaries took their sweet time to prepare, the other Konohanin began engaging in battle. Kiba had tossed several more soldier pills to Kakashi and Kurenai, before rushing into battle with Akamaru. Shikamaru took his place in guarding Tazuna, and Sakura began the task of healing some of Haku's injuries. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and began his attacks as well. But the biggest surprise of all was when Zabuza Momochi jumped into the fray. Naruto was surprised to see the former Kirin fighting alongside him. Momochi, what are you doing? He asked as he slashed one thug. I've been double-crossed and I'm just returning the favor, Zabuza grunted as he knocked down another pair of ruffians. Besides, I have no reason to fight you anymore. In that case, you'll need this. Zabuza caught a soldier pill from Naruto's direction. You're not too bad, brat, said the Kirin as he took the pill. If we live through this, maybe we'll laugh about it someday. The battle raged on as thugs were taken down one by one. The survivors retreated towards Gato. Fools! Yelled Gato. You outnumber them 10-1. Destroy them. But boss, replied one mercenary. They're too strong, we don't stand a chance. I say we get out of here. The other goons had begun to flee as well. Cowards! Gato fumed. Come back here and protect me. Zabuza made a few hand signs. Suetun, Sui Kasari no Jutsu. Gato found himself held down by chains made of water. Momochi, you traitor! Release me this instant. No can do, boss. Zabuza gave his former employer a sadistic smirk. He turned to Kurenai. Hey Devil Eyes, how do you make this cheapskate shut up? Kurenai gave a thoughtful look. I don't know, Momochi. How about this? Megan, Narakumi no Jutsu. Gato began writhing against his bonds as horrible images began to flood his line of vision. Looks like it's the end of the line for you, Gato. Kakashi stepped out of the mist, making hand signs. Again, the chirping noise began to fill the air. Time to end your misery. Chidori. Raw electricity plunged right through the corrupt businessman's heart, his death throes piercing the air. When it was over, Gato was no more. And that takes care of that, said the silver-haired Jonin, wiping off his bloody hand. Unbeknownst to the Copynin, Sasuke had seen the entire move, hand signs included, with his newly activated Sharingan. So that's the potential of a right-on jutsu, the Uchiha chuckled darkly to himself. We did it! Kiba cheered. We finally completed our mission with no sweat. A fist connected with his head, courtesy of Shikamaru. What was that FOO? Kiba started to say, until the Nara pointed to the direction of a hunched-over Naruto weeping over the lifeless Hinata. The red chakra had disappeared as suddenly as it had come, and it was now evident as to how much stress the blonde had gone through. Kiba fell silent, his head hung down. He could not imagine what he would do if a similar scene had happened between him and Sakura, but he was sure that he would not be able to keep his sanity for long. Kakashi and Kurenai approached the scene as well. Not long after, the Konohinin sans Sasuke, and Zabuza and the now-healed Haku now surrounded the grieving Naruto with sorrowful expressions on their faces. The dogs howled, amplifying the somber mood. This is all my fault, said a very remorseful Tazuna. Hinata Naruto wept. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. If could only have a second chance, I'd protect you with all my life. Even if I had to go through the fires of hell, I'll protect you no matter what. Hinata felt something wet touch her cheek. She also heard sniffling and familiar voice crying, for a Hinataheim wasn't heaven supposed to be a place of joy. So why was someone crying? Curious, Hinata slowly opened her eyes. And Naruto-kun? Hinata was truly surprised to see her teammate. Why was he with her? Did he die too? Hinataheim! You're alive! The Hyuga was suddenly crushed into a hug by a very relieved Naruto. You gave me quite a scare there, said the blonde Inuzuka, tears still streaming down his eyes. I thought I'd never see you again. Hinata felt her blood rush at the Heim comment. But before she could pass out from the fact that her longtime crush was hugging her, she was brought out of her happy place by Kiba's shout of joy. She's alive! Kiba all but screamed. He grabbed Akamaru and kissed the dog. Hinata's alive! Kakashi and Kurenai smiled. Sakura rushed over and began to heal Hinata's more minor injuries. Tazuna and Shikamaru breathed out a sigh of relief, Amaru ran towards her and licked her face, and Sasuke remained indifferent. Hinata smiled at the happy, relieved faces of her friends Zabuza and Haku. Wait, Zabuza and Haku? She suddenly backed away from the two Kirinin. Kakashi gave the Hyuga a reassuring eye smile. Don't worry, Hinata, they're on our side now. Hinata simply nodded her head. In the end, things had come to a beautiful conclusion. Gato had been taken care of, Zabuza was no longer a threat, and Wave was now free without the loss of innocent lives. It was now a week after the defeat of Gato. The remaining thugs who had fled had been rounded up by the Nami villagers led by Genji and Inari. The bridge was finally complete, and everyone, including the Konoha and Kirinin, were gathered at the bridge for the inauguration ceremony. What are we going to name it? Asked Tazuna. How about if we name it the Great Nami Bridge? Suggested one villager. That will never do, argued Genji. The crowd broke into a hushed argument of what the bridge would be named until Inari broke the silence. What if we name it the Bridge of Heroes in honor of Kaiser Tauzen, Naruto Nizan, and all the brave shinobi in Kunoichi for inspiring us to fight for our freedom? That's a great idea, said one man. Not too shabby, replied a woman. I like it, quipped Genji with a grin. One by one, the villagers agreed with Inari's suggestion. Voices rose from the crowd once more, pushing for the name. Then it's settled, Tazuna said. Smashing a new bottle of sake on the main post, he declared, from now on, this bridge will be known as the Yusha no Hashi. The crowd erupted into a roaring cheer, and the ninjas' responses had been fairly amusing. Naruto flashed his $1,000,000 smile, and Kiba was showing off. Hinata blushed and twiddled her fingers, and Kakashi, Kurenai, and Sakura smiled and waved. Inner Sakura was now doing a victory dance, screeching booyah. Sasuke smirked, Shikamaru gave a lazy smile, and the dogs yipped like crazy. Zabuza and Haku were dumbfounded. It was strange to have such a large number of people accept them after all that they had done. The reception followed the inauguration soon after. There was food and dancing and everyone had a great time, and Kakashi won a drinking contest between Tazuna and Zabuza, only to receive the hangover of the century the next day. Very soon, it was now time for the Konoha to go home. Zabuza and Haku stayed to help rehabilitate Nami and establish its first ninja academy by the time they received proper funding. Zabuza also managed to salvage the pieces of the Kibukuri Hocho, and had taken it to a blacksmith to be reshaped. The sword was guaranteed to be as good as new after its repairs. Goodbye. Goodbye. Till we meet again. With grateful hearts and smiles, the residents of Nami bid the Konoha their farewell. Inari ran to Naruto, unshed tears glimmering in his eyes. I'm going to miss you, Nisan, he said, embracing the blonde. I'm going to work hard to be strong and I won't be a crybaby anymore. When we meet again, I hope I'll meet up to your expectations. Naruto grinned and ruffled the younger boy's hair. I'll hold you to that, kid. Haku came up next and shook hands with Naruto and Hinata. I hope you have no hard feelings after all that happened. Had I known we were going to be double-crossed, we wouldn't have. Naruto gave him another foxy grin. No sweat, man. Just help these good folk get back up on their feet and we'll call it even. Hinata cut him short. It's okay, Haku-kun. We understand. We all pulled through and that's all that matters. Lastly, Zabuza had removed his mouth wrappings, flashed Naruto a toothy grin and a thumbs up. You got guts, kid. I like that. I'm expecting great things from you in the future. And between us swordsmen, you and your brother have two very special kodachis there. Do take care of them. Naruto smiled and nodded before running off to join the others. Looking at the Bridge of Heroes for one last time, the Konoha smiled before heading off home. The Konoha were finally home. The trip back was rather uneventful unless one counted Shikamaru getting seasick all over again, and the minor scuffles between Naruto, Kiba, and Sasuke. It usually began with Kiba saying something, and Naruto telling him that it was wrong. Then Kiba would lose his temper and begin fighting with his brother. This was followed by Sasuke throwing a few barbs about the Inuzuka brothers and said brothers turning against him. It usually took a grown-up to break up the altercations, although Hinata and Sakura also did their part. Shikamaru, after all, was too queasy to get involved. Upon entering Konoha, the Jonin senseis dismissed their charges and rest up while they filed their reports to the Hokage. Shikamaru was never happier to hear the word rest, and he ran off home with a hurry later, surprising the others as no one had ever seen him move so fast. Naruto, Kiba, Hinata, and Sakura exchanged their goodbyes and left for their respective homes, and Sasuke simply grunted and walked away, leaving Kakashi and Kurenai to shun off to the Hokage Tower. You did what? Tsume's voice practically rocked the foundations of the Inuzuka clan house after hearing the events that transpired in her son's mission. Hana tried to pacify her hyperventilating mother. Mom! Calm down! I will not clam down, raged Sum. When I go to the Hokage Tower, I'm going to give that old coot a little talk about Gen and safety. Imagine, and B-rank mission. Better yet, I'm going to Nami and hunt down that client. What was he thinking, lying like that? Hana paled at the words a little talk in Sum's dictionary. A little talk was synonymous to a sermon that would make Yoshino Nara blush. If Sum was going to give the Hokage a little talk, Sarutobi was better off retired. This time Kiba intervened. But Mom! We came back in one piece. Aren't you glad to see that we're safe and sound? That's beside the point. Sum snapped. The thing is, you were given a B-rank mission that was disguised as a C-rank. Not to mention that you faced off a missing knee with a rep almost as bad as Kakashi's. Safe and sound, you say? What about your friend Hinata? Didn't you say she was almost killed? When Hayashi hears about this, he'll probably put his daughters in house arrest for the rest of their lives. Hana pulled her brothers aside. You guys better go to bed for now. Looking at their ranting mother, she sighed. This may take a while. Sum did eventually calm down, and although she was still sour about the B-rank issue, she was proud that her boys had managed to complete a high-priority mission at such a young age. After breakfast, the Inuzuka brothers and their dogs decided to take a stroll into town. It was a nice day, and there were no missions or training that day. Suddenly, they heard a very familiar voice calling out to them. Naruto! Kiba! You gotta see this! The Inuzukas turned around to see Sakura running towards them, huffing and puffing. Whoa, Sakura! Where's the fire? Naruto asked. Yes, Sakura, what's the rush? Kiba asked, concerned. Sakura wheezed. I was passing by at Ino's and I. You what? Naruto asked, his curiosity getting the better of him. Sakura paused for a while and caught her breath. I saw another Ino. I was passing by the shop when I saw Ino talking to another Ino. Whoa, hold up, said Kiba, raising his hands. How can there be another Ino? We only know one Ino, and I'm pretty sure she could have just made a Bunshin Jutsu. Sakura shook her head. No way. One more thing about this other Ino is that she has a deep voice very much like that of a man. Seriously? Naruto asked eagerly. What are we standing around here for? Let's go to Ino's and see the second Ino. Hey, forehead! Naruto! Kiba! There you are! Everyone turned around to see Ino running up to them, flailing her arms madly. Or we could just stay right here, Kiba snorted. Hi Ino, Kiba, Sakura, and Naruto greeted. Hi guys. Ino chirped. I'd like you to come to the shop for a while. You're not going to make us haul fertilizer sacks again, are you? Kiba asked, cringing a little. I couldn't get the smell out of my nose for weeks. Ino giggled. No, silly. I want you to meet someone. Come on. The group hurried off to the shop to find the other members of Rookie 9 Sans Sasuke already there. Hinata's cousin Niji was there as well. I found the others. Ino beamed. Now come on in. There's someone I'd like you to meet. As the gang entered the shop, they were greeted by a friendly voice. Hello, Un. Welcome to Yamanaka's Flowers. How may I help you, Un? Everyone but Shino and Chuji's jaw dropped at the sight. The speaker was an androgynous blonde boy with a hairstyle similar to that of Ino and her father's. He wore a Konoha forehead protector around his head and the standard Chunin flak vest over his mesh shirt. Who is he? Naruto asked, regaining his composure. Guys, this is my half-brother Deidara, said Ino, gesturing to the newcomer. Deidara, you've met my teammates, Chuji and Shino, right? The older blonde nodded. Well, these are my other friends. She pointed to the pink-haired girl. This is my friend Sakura. Hello, smiled the addressed girl. The Hyuga cousins Hinata Ino introduced, pointing to the girl, who waved her hand shyly. And Niji, she gestured towards the serious boy, who acknowledged the newcomer with a nod. My very good friend, Shikamaru. EY greeted the pineapple-haired genius. And last, but not least, the Inuzuka brothers Kiba and Naruto, said Ino, finishing the introductions with a smile. Yo! The brothers greeted in unison. Deidara grinned. Nice to meet you all, Un. This is unbelievable, Kiba exclaimed. The others looked at him strangely. What is? Asked Chuji. Ino has a long-lost brother, Kiba yelled. Oh great, what's next? I bet Shikamaru will tell us that Irika-sensei is a long-lost member of the Nara clan. Kiba was promptly elbowed by Naruto and Sakura. Be polite, Sakura hissed. Turning to Deidara, she smiled. I'm sorry. My friend's a little rude, don't mind him. It's okay, Deidara assured her. My sister's initial reaction was none too polite either. Ino whined. Hey, don't look at me, said Deidara, putting his hands up in a defensive manner. I only say him as I saw him. As Deidara's hands came up, the genin saw that each hand had a mouth on it. As always, Kiba spoke up first. Dude, that's sick! He exclaimed, pointing to the hand mouths. This time Kiba was greeted by a slap to the head, courtesy of Naruto. Ehihei, Naruto laughed sheepishly. Please excuse my brother. He really doesn't know when to shut up. Niji was next to speak. So Deidara-san, where are you from? Judging from those things on your hands, I would say it's a Kekii Genkai found only within the family of the third Setsukage. You're not a leaf nin by birth, are you? And Niji Nizan.